Okay, so there is no easy way to jump into this, so I'm just going to hit you with the headline. This conversation is about grief. In 2018, I lost my dad, and it was the beginning of a really critical period of change for me. It led to a lot of growth and development, but it was also really fucking difficult. I got a chance to talk with two of my friends who have also lost their dads, Robbie and Nick, and we get into everything from the moment that we found out to how their absence is still kind of like shaping us today. We talk about some of the unanswered questions that we have, some of the things that you have to make peace with after having lost a parent, and just kind of like the ways that you grow around their absence, the ways that you grow around that loss. So, yeah, it's a bit of a long conversation. So tuck in, but it was healing, it was cathartic, and it was also really fun in some ways that I wasn't expecting. So, if you were listening, if you have lost a loved one or a parent, especially if you lost your dad, I hope that this conversation is all of those things for you also. And yeah, this is episode 1 of Important Context with Ryan Sides, and we're calling it the Dead Dad Club. Let me know what you think. Yeah, what was your relationship with your dad like?
Um, Robbie, do you want to go first? Or we jump in here?
I'm totally fine with going first.
Okay.
I uh, I am namesake. I'm the third. I'm the firstborn. My father was military, but a wild child from the '70s. I picked up in some places where he left off, in some ways that he couldn't.
Mm,
Um, I got to be I got to be a little bit more unbridled, and I got to be to pursue some things that I don't think that he had been lined up for. So I got to be just probably a freer version of him, and I think he was just excited to see wherever I took that. My dad was not like, even with him being military and everything I just described, he wasn't a high pressure person when it came to expectations because he was so crazy in his teenage years. Um, Via a lot of trauma and dealing with the passing of his own mother at 9 years old and recovering from that and growing up in the 60s and 70s between DC and North Carolina. I think he was just kind of happy to see how static I was in some ways and how easygoing I was in some ways. And I was a high achiever. So he really didn't have a lot of big expectations. Like, I think he kind of just adjusted to, like, this is the son I have,
yeah.
and this is what he comes with, and this is who he is, and
Complete
that's okay.
acceptance.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and I
awesome.
don't. Yeah, and it's odd having a military father. You know, my dad was like 6 foot. It was close to Ryan's complexion, like not complete opposite in some ways, but just like especially at that time, like rough and tumble guys, got military, bigger guy than I was for the most part at that point, and we couldn't be more different and more alike in some ways. And he was just kind of like really cool with it. Like, you would think that that would be the one that I had to live up to things for. It was more so the church going mother
Yeah.
that had her layout of how things were supposed to go. Daddy was just happy I was breathing and not out here trapping
And
Yeah.
and was getting
yes,
good
not out here
grades.
trapping.
Yeah.
And he was just like, it was really like not nothing we couldn't do wrong, but we would, because he lived such a wild, adolescent and teenage life. He was just happy he had well-adjusted kids.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so that was our relationship. Like, he loved me dearly. He communicated it as best he could in ways that he could. I didn't doubt that, and I never had a question of that. Was it always stylized how I like? Not necessarily, but as I got older and especially around his passing, I began to realize that I was a piece of his story, but he
Yeah.
had his own whole story that he had been living out prior to me getting here and as I was here.
Can we talk about that for a second? Like,
Listen.
this isn't like, I want to get into that about our father specifically, but still having my mom here, my mom and I are really, really close. Like, that has been, in general, like, as I've been an adult, excuse me, as I've been an adult, I've learned so much about like her as the person and like her as the woman and like her as the girl, realizing and like recognizing and like hearing some of like the stories of like her childhood and like her adulthood and just like her revealing more about like her thought processes about certain things and like her perspective on things that like we went through, like things that she was going through that I was there for. coming into an understanding of like your parent as a person is a mind fuck. Like
it is like, it's almost connected to the grief, because you're like, you have to have like a funeral of who you think they were.
Yeah.
Like now you
the
have
hero.
to kind of accept, going back to your question, for me, my dad was my hero growing up.
Yeah.
Like, superhero. They said when I was little, my dad would just jingle the keys and I would be like, where's my daddy? Go with him. Like, we out. Like, I am queen. I could be like the queen of the daddy girls. Daddy's girls. So to me, it's like, to your point, having to experience or having to learn who he was independent of me. And then my mom, who is also still here, having to learn who she is. And she is just a girl learning and growing, So to that point, it's almost like it's so intricately connected to the grief I have of my dad, that part.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That learning part. It's interesting.
It's another person to bury. It's all another person to bury.
Oh my God.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, like this person it's not an avatar, but it's like how I experience, like, again, going back, my dad was my superhero. So how I experienced him when I was younger, then becoming an adult, and how our relationship changed in that way. But then after he passed, like, my mom would tell me things about their relationship, both good and bad, that just like colors in the lines even more. And I'm like, what in the world? Like, she told me their engagement story the other day, or maybe a few weeks ago. And I was like, what? Yeah. Like, it's just kind of coloring it in and being like, he is just a man.
Yeah.
I think he is, I think he's Superman, but he's really just Batman. He's just a human. He might have these other qualities that I really love, but he's just a man. And I think that is what has been so awakening and eye-opening in good and bad ways. Because my dad was incarcerated before he passed. He got out on compassionate release. I didn't know he was dying. That's a whole thing we can get into later. But so through while he was here, there was just like a lot of things I felt about him that now, as he has passed, I've been able to heal, have been able to close, but get closure around, make peace about. So it's a whirlwind. It is a whirlwind going from who he was to me then to now.
How old were y'all when your dad's passed? And then Nick, I want to hear more about like what your relationship with him was like.
Yeah.
I was 34, and to tack onto that, I love my daddy, but he died a fuckboy. In regards to how my mama felt about it, and I can understand. Like, that was the thing we discussed about it. Like, then, like, we are burying it's my mother, myself, and my sister. And my sister's younger, and we agreed that we were burying 3 different people, and that we would create space for each other, and we would protect the space for each other to process relative to who they knew, and we knew 3 different people.
We're definitely coming back to that between myself, my 2 siblings, and then other people, like the man that we buried multiple men that day.
Yes.
But go ahead, Nick.
I was 31, and this was he passed in 2019, and we all know 2019 was like the last year of things being good, kind of, and then it just went to shit after that. So I was 31, and I was, blindsided. Like, even though I knew he was sick, I didn't know he was dying, and those are 2 things I had to wrestle with. So it was like, what? It just, I was 31. And then so I have a sister, that's not her biological father, but that's the father that she grew up with before my parents got divorced. And so the way that she was infected, she was sad. When she heard the news, she was sad, but I think she grieved more for me because she knew I was going to be a different person. I think she knew that day I was different. Like, I couldn't even process it. And Ryan, me and you have talked about this. The day that I got the news, I was walking to the car. I was on my way to brunch. I knew I was going to see my dad later that week because, he got out on compassionate release. He was in a nursing home. And I was on my way to brunch. I think it was like 10 a.m. or something like that, because I was going into DC, got the phone call, and I was just like, okay. And I went to brunch, completely disassociated. So it's almost like that day things split. There's a before and there's an after. And
it's a canon level event.
Yes. And before I went to brunch, I stopped at my sister's house. I cried a little, but I think she grieved more for me. She knew it was going to break me. And it did. It did. In good and bad ways, it did.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't really grow up with my dad. My mom and my dad had me when they were both very young. I think my mom had just turned 18 when she had me, and my dad is only a year older, so he was like 19. He had just turned 19. His birthday is like a couple days before mine.
Think about that now, just for a second. Can you
imagine? Can you imagine, like, me at 19? I had just moved away to school, baby.
I am 43, and absolutely not.
I can barely look. I can't have a kid now, right? Like,
literally. I talked to my mom about this a couple weeks ago, just being like, I am the age you were when I was going off to college.
That's crazy.
And like the idea of me today, February 7th, having a child off somewhere in college, that sounds absolutely diabolical. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean?
Sounds nuts. Yeah.
Anyway.
To be 19, at the age my dad would have been at 43, I was 19 years old at that time.
Like, it's crazy. Like, the idea of it is, no. And thinking about all the shit that I've been through up to this point, and like having gone through that with a child, I'm broke.
Trying to keep
like, wait.
Yeah. As an adult, having to crystallize that, like, how hard was that for you? Or not hard, but what was that experience like for you trying to understand that?
Yeah. Like, like that has been, I think, like the work, not even like the work, but like that has been like what the majority of like our conversations, my mom and I have like centered around like recently, like the past 2 years is like, so there was this, Tumblr post a couple of years ago about, I think it's like 8 questions to ask your mother before she passes. And it was just like, ask her, like, don't do these like when your mom is like sick or when she's old, like do them now. And so like I did those, and I had her send them to me in voice notes, because like one of the things that like I really regretted after my dad passed was like not having a lot of things of his. Again, like I didn't grow up with him. Like they were really, really young. I was born in this like really, really small town in Missouri, Cape Girardeau, Missouri. It's like the equivalent of like, I don't know, the stereotypical Willacoochee, Georgia. Like that's super small, Mayberry, Podunk town. And my mom was like, oh no, I can't stay here. And my dad, at the time at least, was really comfortable. He had a good thing going. He was very much like a big fish in a small pond. And she was like, at least like her version of the story is like, I know that he's not going to leave. And for me, for her, she was like, I desperately need to get out of here. She had a really traumatic childhood. She was like, I have to get out of here. And she told me, she was like, the conversation that I had with him is that like, you will always know where he's at. You will always be able to be in touch with him. You can always send for him. Like you will have unfettered access to him. I just, for my own health safety, cannot be here. Yeah. And so we left. I spent like kindergarten in Memphis where my brother was born. And then we ended up in Texas. It was like this is home. And so, during that time, right, like I would go back in the summers to spend time with like my grandmother, and my dad would be there. So I would spend time with him and my younger brother. And like, that's how we developed a relationship. And then through about like middle school and like early high school, we just kind of like lost contact. And then like I sent a letter to him my junior year, just being like, hey, mama gave me your address, seeing how you're doing, want to let you know that I miss you, I love you. And he was like, this whole time I thought that you were mad at me. I thought that you didn't want to like talk to me. He was like, I'm so sorry, like I should have reached out. And that's one of the things that I appreciated about my dad, is that like he was super expressive. Yes. And like I wrote about this in just kind of like my personal eulogy for him, but it was just like, I never once wondered if my dad loved me. Like I never once had to question whether or not he cared about me.
Never had that issue.
When I came out,
dad thing, maybe, but go ahead.
At least our dads. Yeah. And I remember like I came out to my mom, and then like I came out to him like afterwards, and his thing was not like mad at me for like being gay. Like he was just like, nigga, why didn't you tell me sooner? Like I would have took you out. We could have went to, like, he was, like I said, like he was well known in like the city that he lived in, and like he worked at a bunch of bars and like restaurants, and like every time I would go home, he would just like always like, I'm here to like show off my sons. Like my kids are here. I'm here to like show them off. Like I'm super proud of them. Like, this is a man that like when he got drunk, like he would like drunk dial me and my brother to call and like tell us like how much he loved us. That was it.
Love.
Like,
yeah.
So that was like my relationship with him. As I became like an adult, just like falling into, okay, so this is where like these parts of me come from. A willingness to emote, a willingness to be expressive, a fearlessness in like telling the people that I love how much I love them. And like coming into the appreciation of that while I had him, but also just like it really hitting home like after I lost him. Mm-hmm. So like, how did y'all, go ahead.
Quick question. Because I didn't hear from Robbie either. Like the day that you got the news, can you?
That's what I was about to ask.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, yeah. Can
Go
you
ahead.
speak to that?
So my mother had called me. My dad was cancer, so I had time, which is sorry. My friends and I always say time how Jonathan Majors did, and what's it called, and it's stuck in my head. Time. Anyway, ignore me. But yeah, so it's also in.
Okay.
And I would be like, what, sir? Anyway. But yeah, so a friend of mine, my neighbor across the street, we were all military brats, and her mother and my father passed the same year, and her mother was sudden, and my father was 2.5 years of a cancer journey. Mm-hmm. And we stood in the street between our homes, and we were just discussing everything, and we couldn't decide on which was worse. Having time and knowing and watching someone deteriorate, or just never getting a chance to say anything to the person, and it's just done.
Yeah.
And we both reconciled that it was just bullshit either way.
Like, it's the same grief, you just take a different road. It's the same grief.
I had gone home that September. He was October of 16. I had gone home in September. My mother called me. My mother is a Leo and a deacon at my home church, and that's all I gotta say.
Love that lady down.
Love her down.
Love that lady down.
I will mount Drogon and burn your city to the ground behind that lady.
Truly.
But I will also drag her because she is a lot.
My mom is also a Leo, so I understand.
2 Leos and a Libra, baby.
Crazy. Okay.
So she and what's crazy is my sister, they're 5 days apart, August 12th and 17th. I think my sister is just different because she was raised by a Leo.
Yeah.
But I think there also are some things that are like that they both do, and I'm like, ooh. Yeah. Anyways,
you your mama's child.
Baby. So September, she called me and she's like, just real dramatic. If you want to see him, now is the time. And I was like, Rochelle.
Girl.
Your name is Rochelle?
Yes.
My mom's name is Rochelle.
My sister's name is Rochelle as well.
Your sister? Is it really?
Both of them.
That's crazy. I live for a girl junior. They're
almost junior. My mom has a different middle name than my sister does. So my sister is, you hear me call her Nicole because she's Robbie and Nikki. And so I'm the third, and we were all RHs. Either way.
I love that. My mom is a Leo and named Rochelle too. So
and it's all backwards because I was supposed to be a girl, and my name was Naima. So I would have been a stripper clearly, and that
absolutely would have been a stripper. Naima.
Has to be a stripper, okay?
And so then I came. So I came first, and then like the last thing they were like, "It's a boy," and they were like, "Wait, what?" And so then I became, the third. Yeah. And then my sister was supposed to be a boy, and her name was Ronaldo. And then she came out, they were like, "Well, it's definitely a girl." And so we got a little flip flop. But either way, my mom, drama and all, she's like, "If you want to see him, now's the time." And I'm like, okay, girl. So I went home for like a week, and I was like, it had been 2.5 years at that point, and my dad was in a rare fucking form. He wore me thin, and I'm the home trying to be compassionate and love on him, and he is just a chaotic Aries, and he's all over the place. And so I came back to Atlanta after that week, and about 10 days later, he had a fall that expedited everything. And my dad was like a truck. Like he was just like walking around on fentanyl patches, on chemo meds, trying to hit a blunt. Like he was still like, I don't know why.
A nigga.
Lay down, bro.
Please, if you don't sit down.
Right.
So like it was crazy. So about 10 days after I had left, he had a fall, and it was during a major hurricane. I forget which one it was, but I couldn't even fly home immediately. We could not get home until like that Friday. So he fell. He had a surgery. C5 and C6, I do believe, disconnected. And when my mother told me he couldn't feel his extremities, is like below his neck, I said, we ain't got much time.
Yeah.
So he fell that Monday. He was gone the next Monday. So I got home that Friday. One of my best friends from college, Delta, I love the Reds. She, her husband drove me. As I should. Alpha Lambda, shout out to Alpha Lambda, but Courtney and her husband Kevin, they drove through flooded terrain. We couldn't see in some places. We drove up on a road thinking it was the slick of the road being wet, and it would be a lake now.
They said you're getting home.
they got me to that hospice. And so I was there. I was there holding his head when he took his last breath. And my dad, being my father and who he was, he died twice. He died up and down bed. We carried on. We cried. We fell out. We slid down walls. We, only for him to be like, all right.
No, he didn't. You imagine? Oh my God.
The way I would have unplugged you myself, because I've already done this. I'm not doing this again.
What's crazy was,
hello?
Crazy was he died the first time on the PM, because my grandmother died the same year. He died on the PM, what time she died on the AM.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So my aunt was like, what time? And then she just froze.
Yeah.
And then we sat there, and so I held my mother's hand. We were like all holding hands over his body. We were praying and whatnot. And she's, being the deacon she is. And we're sitting there just praying and whatnot. My sister done ran out the room. I done dropped me and tore my knee up to pieces. We going through all of that. We talking and stuff over the body, and he just says,
no way.
I wanted to see how bad y'all was gonna cut up. I wanted to see y'all.
No shade. No shade. That's so Ryan coded. That's so Ryan coded because y'all not crying hard enough for me. Y'all not crying hard enough. Turn this up. Turn this up. So we got the dress out the way. Let's go ahead. Full out. Full out.
Dress rehearsal.
Full out. Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, we laughed. We went to the car afterwards. My cousin had like a mobile bar in his trunk. We took shots. My sister rolled a blunt.
I know that's fucking right.
We did whatever we
I
needed
know
to
that's
do.
fucking right.
We laughed because we were like, that just said, no, my father, that was some jokey shit he would have did.
Yeah.
So pump fake your own death.
That's crazy.
He stayed like an hour. He came back for like an hour and 8 minutes, and it made the actual transition so peaceful. Yeah. I was holding his head. We were all around him, and I told him, I said, I got your girls.
I got you.
Yeah.
And he took his last breath on that. So it was a peaceful moment. I'm glad I had it. It is a trauma to later revisit.
For sure.
Because you're like,
sure.
Wait a minute, bitch. Did I just like...
For sure. Yeah.
And so it was days that I would call my sister, and I would be like, girl. And she would just be like, girl. And like, we really just...
Yeah.
And we went through probably like, my sister and I, we used to always get asked were we twins. We are so simpatico that it lets me know that we are something outside of this world. That there's more to us than what we know here. But that girl and I, like, we share aches and pains. We feel the same things. We share dreams. A lot. Like my father, we get a little spiritual here, but he visited me in my dreams. He still does to this day. But he visited me for the first 3 years every damn night. I said, Rob, find a hobby.
Please. It's something for you to do over there. I know. It's something for you to do over there. It's got to be.
Your life got something to do. Get a schedule.
It's somebody over there that you know.
Yeah.
Your mom, your daddy, your mom, your sister. Everybody is there.
Just give me a break. I need a break.
He was joking even on the other side.
That's crazy. Like that's.
But I love that. I love it.
I love it now. But the first few months of it, I had taken on a high stress job right after, and I would have to wake up and remember all over again.
Yeah. We're getting there.
Oh, I would wake up bawling like Fantasia. I would wake up wake up crying.
Yeah.
And have to pull it together to go to work in my new role where I'm an executive. And it was. And then he started passing messages to my sister. They got mad with me. My mom and sister was like, well, he ain't visited us. And I was like, girl, I would like him to stop visiting.
I want him to go to y'all, actually.
We can do a timeshare. We can schedule you a couple of visits, baby girl, because I'm exhausted. But yeah, it was, and then when the messages would be stuff that was true, or stuff that I didn't know, and my sister would be like, yeah, that, and I'll be like, can y'all talk to each other?
Yeah. Leave me, take me out the group chat.
Let's get, so it was, but yeah, I was there. I'm glad I was. I wouldn't have rather be anywhere else. But that does definitely convolute down the road some of the grief. I think that portion of things I'm kind of over. But it was definitely like I wouldn't have been anywhere else. But there's nothing in this life that prepares you for releasing half of how you got here.
Yep.
Nothing readies you for that. Nothing readies you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on really quick. I'm going to take a quick pause to let my...
Going crazy. No, I think that's great. I always tell people, I I'm envious of people that got to see the end like that, you know? And I know it wasn't easy for anybody that had to do that, but I am envious. Like, I wish I was there, and I struggled for a long time. I was like, oh my God, did my dad feel alone? Was he in pain? Like, there's so many questions that will always go unanswered. So like, people that get to have those moments, from my perspective, as naive as it could be, I think that's a blessing.
Nick, you gave us a little bit of it earlier. Do you want to talk some more about like how you found it, how you got the news?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I was on my way to brunch, and I got the call. Leading up to that, like I said, he was incarcerated and he was let out on compassionate release. My uncle, his brother, was the one kind of handling everything. So there were some things I didn't know. There's a level of estrangement with that part of the family. So there's just some things that I didn't know. I was preparing myself. Like, I knew he was sick. I knew he had cancer. It started in his pancreas and then it metastasized to other places. He eventually died of stomach cancer. But so I would go often, or as much as possible at that time, because I also had, like, I was very busy with work, but I would go and visit him as much as possible. So towards the end, I was like, something's not right. He got out that May 2019. I would go up there Father's Day, spots during the week and all this stuff. We get to August and the doctors are like, no one told, it doesn't seem like no one told you that, like, he's dying. Like, he's
how
dying.
Bad it
he's
is.
not, like, he's not. And my dad never communicated that to me because he's going to protect me to the end. He knew I was not going to be okay. Because once I heard the news, the next visit, I could barely speak in the room. Like, I was crying so much. It was like, it's like the bottom fell out of my life. Like, I was just like, what do you mean? Because I felt, I'm grieving two things. I don't get to have you in the way I want you because you weren't free. You were incarcerated. And then I think you get to come home and we get to have, we're making up for lost time. Because I'm thinking, it's pancreatic cancer. These are things that you can live. You can live with pancreatic cancer or get over it, right?
Yeah.
From this. And so now I'm grieving that, wait a minute, you're going to die? And then they're telling me you only have a few months? Like, so I'm trying to wrap my mind around all these things at the same time. I mean, the bottom of my life fell out.
Yeah.
He passed in October 5th. And like I said, the day that I got that call, which by that point, I knew it was coming, but there was something in me that just kind of dissociated with it at that time anyway. But when I got the call, I was just like, okay, call my sister, call my mom, call my sister, call my best friend at the time. And I say at the time because me and my best friend fell out because she wasn't as present as I would have liked her to be at this time of my life. But that's another story. But I called them and I think I cried. Like I said, I think I cried a little bit, but it wasn't like how you should feel when your life falls out the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So
or maybe it was.
We talked, I was just like in a state. And I think my mind was like protecting me in a sense, almost, right?
Yes.
You're getting in a car, you're going to drive, you need to be okay. Like, you cannot die. I probably would have fainted in another lifetime. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I go to my sister's, I stop by, my sister gives me all the love she can, and she's questioning, like, are you sure you want to go out with your friends? Like, are you sure? And I'm just like, yeah, like, you know, it's fine, right?
Yeah.
Go to brunch. I think halfway through the brunch, I go to the bathroom, let the pressure off just a little bit. I think I go to the bathroom, like, cry just like for like a second. I'm just like, I'm fine. Go back to the table. And of course they know at this point, as another one of my really good friends at the time, she knew, they knew, but nobody was like trying to touch it because I think everybody else was also like, what are you doing? Like, why are you out? Why are you eating? Like, what's happening? And so it was
why are you here?
Yeah, it was such a bizarre, even when I look back on it, I'm just like, why didn't you take the time? And I think for a long time, I beat myself up over that because I felt like, oh, I'm not honoring my dad enough. Or I'm like, but I didn't know what else to do.
That's what I had available to me at the time.
I'll tell you what it was for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was you existing in that last those vestiges of reality that you had before that you got that news.
Yeah.
And I think that we think about, you know, like whether it be like TV or other people's experiences or whatever, there's this whole universe of responses and it you know, like ways that you expect to feel in a moment and you don't know till you get in that moment what you're doing. And then on top of the emotional and physiological responses, your brain underneath is doing its own thing.
Yeah.
It's preparing you for what it's saying. Okay, she getting ready to shut down over here in the limbic region. We need to go ahead and assign somebody over here to go do that.
Yes.
It's preparing you in a way. Your spirit is preparing you in a way, and so whatever your response is as authentic and is as honest as you can be in that moment.
That's
Yes.
You've never dealt with that, and one piece of advice one of my aunts gave me after having her mother, my grandmother passed, and then my father. She said a good piece of advice that she got was, you got to give yourself grace, and you got to realize that every day you encounter henceforth is your first time encountering that day without that person.
Yeah.
So I applied it to that.
That is
day.
a great breakdown. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so whether it's that day, whether it's that emotion, whether it's that triumph, whether it's that new trauma, whatever it is, it's your first time encountering it, but let alone like as this iteration of yourself, whatever that means in that moment. And every major event, you jokingly said, your timeline split, but every major event, every perspective altering event that you go through changes your entire view of the world. So not even are there multiple worlds out here. There are multiple worlds for you alone as a person. Because it colors your perspective going forward, and it colors how you date, and it colors how you grieve, and it colors how you support other people when they're dealing with grief. And it changes. You come out of that motherfucker like, bitch, I don't bury my parent.
And that's how I felt. Like after that day, I think because the next day was a Sunday, and I was like completely, like, I don't even think I really kind of like recovered as myself until like maybe a year and a half ago. Like this is still, and obviously as you guys know, it's still grief. There's still things you wrestle with. There's still things you deal with. But that day, I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep going. I think that night I finally, because I had like posted about it on Instagram, and that's when I was like, I have to feel this. And I was a mess. I was a mess. I don't even think a lot of people know how much of a mess I was, because I was still publicly facing, trying to deal. But like, I was in such a dark place almost immediately after that. So I agree with you. I think my spirit or my mind or something was trying to protect me, because they knew she's going to fall apart. I was not in any sense of the word okay. Like, not even a little bit.
For me, like... similar to you, Nick, like I was just kind of like having like a regular day, and I was at the gym. I was living in LA at the time. This is June 9th, 2018. Oh yeah. And I had just moved to LA. I turned 30 January that year. And then, so about like 6 months into like me being there, almost 6 months into me being there, I'm still getting my bearings. Like I have friends out there, I have work out there, but like this is still very much like a new city. And I was at the gym. I was on the phone with my homegirl, Jazz. We were just like talking about like some shit that she was going through at work. And I went to go like do a workout. This is like downtown at like Fig and Flower, if y'all are familiar with like the LA area. So I was going to the Gold's Gym down there at Fig and Flower, and there isn't service. At least there wasn't like, I didn't have service down there. So I was upstairs taking the call with her, got off the phone with her, go downstairs, get my workout in, listen to music. And then I see that I had a voicemail. And I got a voicemail because like my phone didn't ring because there wasn't service. And I come out to see the voicemail, and I see that it's my grandmother. And I don't know what it was, but like I knew. And it's like, mind you, like my dad wasn't sick per se. Like he's had epilepsy. He'd had epilepsy his whole life. And he had just started he had not had a seizure for going on like 20 years until maybe like the November before. And then it was just like a slew of like seizures that just like kept happening in rapid succession. Outside of that, right, for us, it was just kind of like, all right, well, let's figure out like your body's changing, you're getting older. What medication do we need to get you on to like adapt to this? Like very similar to you. It's like, all right, like this is something like we can beat this. But she left the voicemail. She was like, call me as soon as you get this. I knew.
No. Yeah.
I called her and she was like, Marcellus is gone. And I was like, what? And she was like, I need you to come home. And I was like, yes, ma'am. I'm on the next flight. I hung up the phone with her. I booked my flight. And then I just like sat on my couch, and it was just like crying. But like a really like subtle, like gentle, quiet cry. And I had called my partner at the time. He was living out in Boston. And I was like, hey, just to give you a heads up, my dad passed. I'm okay. I'm going to go, which is like crazy, first of all. Like, what do you mean you're okay, girl? What do you mean?
Why do we do that?
Why?
I'm okay. Like, are you?
Like,
Are you
what do you even fucking mean? What do you fucking
Ryan
mean?
can tell you, I'm good for being like, I'm not.
Yep. With the smile.
Like,
I'm sorry, baby. With the smile. But yeah, I was like, I'm okay. I just wanted to give you a heads up because I'm flying to Missouri first thing in the morning. And him knowing me, he was like, okay, heard you, right? And so after that, like, I didn't really like have a cry until like much, much later. But like I flew home that next day and so there isn't an airport or there's an airport in Cape, but it's just like super regional. And so you have to fly into St. Louis. And so I flew into St. Louis. He had already flown to St. Louis. Did not tell me that he was coming because he knew.
Is that not the love of your life? Like,
he knew that I was not going to I
be okay
without like and I wouldn't have asked and I wouldn't have asked for the help. Like he was like, in order for like him to receive, like I just have to do it. And so
that's sweet.
I flew in and we drove down, but like that was it. Like he had had a brain aneurysm and just like dropped down dead in his kitchen. And they found him by like somebody that he was working with called and was like, Marcellus is never late. Like somebody please go see what's going on. And like they had known that he had been having seizures too. So like they went to go like check on him and somebody like found him and like called my grandma and then like she called us. And it was just like, to your point, Nick, just being like, what did he feel like in those moments? Was he in pain? Was he scared?
Did he feel alone?
Like, and like he had been going through some things during that time, and it was just like, and that like finding out about that, it was just like, oh, I just want to wrap my arms around him. I just want to like wrap my arms around him. But
thank y'all for sharing that, because what I always tell people, it's in that moment that I feel like you're the most raw and vulnerable. Obviously we wrestle with so many things after that, but it's the call, it's the moment. And so I just appreciate y'all sharing that, because that's the most vulnerable part of it.
It is like, and it's weird because like there are a lot of things that you experience that you keep in with the theme of like timeline shifts, right? Like there are a lot of things that you go through and you experience, and it's not until you're able to like look back and be like, oh, that was like a change maker.
Yeah.
The call is one that in that moment. In that moment, this is where the timeline branches.
This is where everything splits. Yeah.
It is a demarcation. It is you look back on your personal history, and it's funny. My dad was also October, but it was 2016, and my sister, she's 84, so I was 34, she was 32. She had just gone through a divorce, a relocation, and a new position. Prior to that, she was like one of the HR generals at his hospital.
Wow.
So the entirety of his 2-year cancer journey,
she's back there.
She, above anybody else in our family, was there for everything. She knew his scripts. She knew his daytime dosages. She knew his schedule. Like, she was there for everything, which caused some ripples as well.
For sure.
But yeah, I also say this to say there's two things I wanted to touch on. And you all kind of already touched on it. But the first thing is just a point of note. Those 30s will knock you, because you come into them 30s thinking you finally got the game a little mastered.
Oh, baby.
You know what's going on.
Baby. It's like life showed up and was like, immediately, I don't want you to get too comfortable, baby, because the answer is no.
The answer
like,
is no.
6 months into 30, it was like, hey, cool it, Miss Mamas. Like, Jesus
like, go ahead
Christ.
and yeah.
So I'm in my senior year. I'm 4 years into my 30s. I'm in my senior year. I'm like, okay, I got this shit.
I got this.
I got this going on. That's like that year was like
windmilling.
Everyone died. That was the year that like Muhammad Ali. It was like a bunch of people kept dying that year. My grandmother, one of my friends, drowned in Lake Lanier. My father, my frat brother's mom. Like the year started off with that big car wreck with Cordell and all of them. 2016 was clearing me.
Cordell, that was in Dallas, wasn't it?
No, that was here in Atlanta. That was in Atlanta.
Okay. Right. Yep.
That. So 2016 was knocking me like every chance.
Windmilling, baby.
And it was giving 30. You thought you had lived and you had known some things and you had
thought I knew something about something. And it's crazy because I feel like when those moments do happen, you are like in some weird transition. Because I think for me, I was about to move. I just knew I was moving to LA. It had derailed that. I was like trying to shift into like, I feel like in my career, I was shifting into something else. I can't remember exactly right now, but I just felt like I was already in this shift. And then it was like, oh, here's the KO punch.
Yeah.
After that, I was like, oh my God, I don't know where I'm moving. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's going on. 2020, we all know what happened then at the top of that year. So only a few months later, now we don't even know if we're going to be living. Because what is this virus? What is this COVID-19? So like my life was so like just up in the air, upside down. It was a mess.
That's exactly.
It was a mess.
And it was like, oh, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
I was like,
I got my point written down, so I'm good.
This is January. Like I moved to LA January 2018. Yeah. And then he passed June 2018. And it's like up to that point, like I was already on the fence about LA, having moved there from New York. Like I was excited to move there, but then I got there and it was very, very different than like what I expected and like what I experienced visiting. But like I was already just kind of like on the fence, like how are we feeling about this? Do we want to stay? Do we want to like stick it out? Like what this is going to look like? That happened. And then it was just like not having as strong a community in LA as I did in New York, not having a wealth of experiences and memories to fall back on. It was just like that immediately took over my LA experience and I could not get out of there fast enough. I couldn't get out of there fast enough.
And that was going to be my question because we've discussed this before. Like what places can you not revisit or what things do you have a hard time revisiting? Like Robbie, maybe it's the hospital for you or maybe it's a city. Because I know for my dad, so my dad died in Baltimore. Have a hard time revisiting there. My dad's from New York. I already told you, right, about like my anxiety with New York. So like there are so many things that I have a really hard time. Like even if I can revisit it, I know it's going to be a gut punch. Like I know I'm going to feel things.
Yeah.
So what is that for y'all?
Things. It's two for me. One is, I was the one that was hopeful because I wasn't there. I don't live there in North Carolina. Yeah. So I was like, oh, he's going to beat it. And so when it was like, come home, if you want to see him, now's the time. And my sister picked me up from RDU and she was just like, I want to prepare you. And I was like, girl, I'm good. I'm fine. My dad had been like 230 to about 260 most of my life. My dad was a beefy motherfucker, big old military motherfucker. So like just general at so many things. And I work out and I'm lighter now than I have been in my adult life. But at the time I was like 190 and we were on a FaceTime after his last surgery and he was had dropped some weight. He was Big Rob, I was Little Rob. And I was like, you got to get that weight back on. So get you a blunt, do whatever you got to do to get that weight back on. Yeah. Until then, I'm Big Rob. And he was sitting on the edge of the bed with his ankles crossed. And he said,
not with his ankles crossed.
He said, that sounds practical to me. Okay, well, until you get that weight back on, I'm Big Rob. He was like, the big one. He was kind of like, okay. So we laughed. So when I got home, even smaller at that point. So when I got home in that September, I'm like, 185, 190. My father was 170. And I had never seen that.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to him when I get home and I'm just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Let me go to the vet real quick for a second.
Yeah.
My mom saw me and she followed me to her bedroom. Yeah. And I wouldn't do it in front of him. I lost my motherfucking mind. I lost my mind. So he spent that weekend, like we had all his family come in, nieces and nephews, cousins, best friends, everybody to kind of see him. And he was like, I see what y'all doing. I ain't going nowhere. And we were like, nigga, okay.
Are you sure?
But he was kind of like, he was picking it up. So when I first got there, his voice was like really low, close to a whisper. But as time went on, he kind of pepped back up. His voice kind of kicked back in. So I have a voice recording of like that conversation. I have not played it to this day.
Yeah.
But at least you have it.
I have it. I have not. Yeah. It is.
I would say you need it in the cloud and on a hard drive, baby. Yeah. Like
it is tucked away and I just haven't. And I think I could do it now and not have a problem. But that's one thing. The second thing was, like I said, he was October. Come like the day after the funeral, my pro fight had been calling me to talk to me, to check on me. And we get on the phone and he was like, hey, I know kind of where you are. My mom is in hospice. And I was like, wait a minute, when were you going to tell me this? He was like, you got enough going on. I didn't, Yeah. So he was kind of walking me through his journey at that point. Mm-hmm. And so we walked through it together and I'm talking to him. In December, he's in full-on hospice. She's declining. So I go to support him to visit him, and I'm fine for a second. He's there. His brother's there. His current wife was there. and the brother's girlfriend was there. I ain't seen that lady ever since, but I'm gonna take you. Shout out to Black women because y'all are so empathic and so.
We do what we can.
So we sitting in the break room and we're just talking, we finally get out of the jokey jokes and start just having memories and processing, and it gets quiet at some point. And when it gets quiet, all I can hear is the machines in the hospice.
Nope.
And I don't know if my eye started twitching or I don't know what gave homegirl the notice. And like I said, this was like my frat brothers jump off at the moment. Like it wasn't even like nobody that I don't even know that she around no more. But she looked over at me and she saw it coming and she said, "Come here." And she grabbed
I'm about to lose it like right now.
And she got me in that hallway and I wasn't ready. I was trying to access what I had been through to be there for him as best I could. But in that moment, it was like, baby, you did your best in your big one, but you still got a journey yourself. And I didn't realize in that moment. So like a hospice, I mean, thankfully I ain't had to be in the one sense, but just the silence.
Yeah.
And the machine.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And that, man, that got me up out of here. And to that point about Black women, the beginning of January of this year, and I had a rough last year, and Ryan already knows my cat died like the second day of the new year.
Oh, no.
And
I'm sorry.
Thank you. And I had him for 11 years, and so I'm in Banfield and going through the process and getting all that done. I'm waiting to just pay, and I'm at the end of handing him over, getting his paw prints, that whole nine. So I'm standing in line and I'm holding the paw prints in one hand. I'm leaning up against the thing and I'm trying to hold it together just to pay this money so I can get this car.
To get the hell out,
and lose my mind.
Yeah.
And this Black girl kept turning around, and I'm sure she was younger than I was, but she was just so sweet. She was waiting on her dogs to give room, and she just kept turning around. And she finally took off her shades and she said, "I see what you're going through. I can put together two and two what's going on. I don't know you." She said, "But I know you should not have to do this alone." And she said, "Can I just hug you?" And that Black girl hugged me, and I was
balling. Yep.
Lost it in Banfield.
That'll do it.
I lost it in
those
Banfield.
moments. I'm glad someone was there. Yeah.
And just the way the universe will organize and orchestrate your life in a way. And that's why, like, another point I was going to make that you made already about who's there when these things happen and how it can fracture friendships. And I've seen it fracture marriages and all kinds of things, families. I told my mom and my sister because one guy walked in, a good friend of my father's, and he walked in 10 minutes after my daddy had passed. And my mom, in all her glory, "You just missed him." And I said, "Rochelle."
It's not just, your mom is a trip, man. I love it.
I said, Rochelle.
Please.
And so
sister.
we're outside, my sister and I and her, and they were talking about, well, so-and-so ain't came by and so-and-so. And I said, listen. Everybody, and it's gonna hurt to hear this for a second, but just trust me in this. Everybody is right where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
I said, my only concern, my only wonder of where so-and-so is you two.
That's it.
As long as you two are where you're supposed to be in this moment to prioritize your healing and your goodbyes and how you're going to handle this, I don't give a fuck about nobody else.
Yeah.
And I said, and it was for him to walk in 10 minutes late so that for the next person that he claims to care about, he can be where he needs to be. It was for that person to say what they said, to get corrected so they can be better the next time. It was for everybody to be exactly where they were in this moment. Everybody ain't going to be there.
Right.
Can't be.
And the other reality of it is that even when they are there are some parts of this that you're going to process by yourself.
Yep.
Absolutely. When I started therapy closely after this, and Ryan, I know you've got to answer the question, but just really quickly, the thing that I've noticed is that, like, grief is such a singular experience. Yes, people could have gone through it with you, but then it's like the calls will slow down. The check-ins will slow down. It's your grief. It's your journey. So that's why, even though, the breakdown of a friendship during this time, it was just kind of like, at a certain point, I was like, it's not even your fault. I still don't like you, but it's not even for you to have dealt with this. Yeah, I still don't like you. Like,
let's be clear.
Very us. That's so us.
Still don't like
That's so us.
Yeah, you can't get back. The door is locked. But I understand
I get it.
It's for me. It was for me to go through this journey, and you didn't support that, and that's okay. But like for the next person, you will show up. So to your point, so
you needed that lesson.
Grief is for you. But what are the things that you can't revisit, right?
Oh my God. To be honest, the only time so far that I have been back to Cape Girardeau, Missouri, was to bury my great grandmother 2 years later. A year later. Yeah. It was like 11 months later. I went back to bury my great grandmother. And like, I have not been back since.
Yeah. It's hard to go there. Yeah.
I have not been back since, because like, not only are like so much of my family is buried there and in that cemetery.
Yeah.
Like my great grandmother, my great grandfather, an aunt and an uncle, maybe like 2 aunts actually, I think. And then like the rest of like my great aunts and my grandmother have plots there. So like everybody's going to be interred there. But short of that, like I haven't been back. I don't have any reason to go back. And my brother and I talk about this a lot. It's just like, I want to go back to, it's so weird. Like I want to be cremated because it's like my family is everywhere. And it just like doesn't make sense. Like if I were to be buried anyway, we'd probably be in New York. Like if we're thinking about like traditional, like where's home, but like it just doesn't make any sense to me in terms of like where my family is. But in the wake of my dad's passing, it is just like the idea of knowing that there is like a physical location where his body rests right now, that should I choose to, I can go to. There's like a really specific comfort that I draw from that, even in having not gone. Even in having not gone. Like I went to go see his headstone when, like after we buried my great grandmother, I left her, like her service, to go see his headstone. And that's the only time that I've seen it. But yeah, just like the idea of that is just like really comforting for me.
My dad is cremated, and his ashes are in my closet, and it sounds so crazy. Yeah. But I have a really hard time letting him go. My mom, every year, my dad's birthday's coming up. It's March 3rd. And
my dad was March 28th. Like, this is getting weird.
Yo, it's a lot of
be related, low key.
Like,
he's from my dad is from PG. My dad was raised
from Maryland, but my dad's from Harlem, in the Bronx in Harlem.
But it's very much some type of like cosmic alignment here, for sure.
There's no way we have that many similarities. Like
my dad is March 28th.
Really?
That's crazy.
Yeah, my daddy's March 3rd, and so like this year, the plan, actually I'm moving like the day before his birthday, but this year the plan was to take a weekend and go to New York and finally spread his ashes. And as we get closer to it, that anxiety is back. Because that's one of the places that I have a really hard time with. The very first time since his passing, the very first time I went back was last May for an event, the Strength of a Woman event that I was working, Mary J. Blige's festival. And that day was so, like, the anxiety was so, you could have physically been in the room with me.
Yeah.
That's how intense and raw it was. I had to call my mom for a second, cry. I was like, don't say anything. Just let me cry for a second to release some of this pressure.
Yeah.
And then let me go back to work. And I was only there for barely like 24 hours because I couldn't handle it. It was like too much. It's almost like I feel suffocated in New York. And I love New York. New York is like one of my favorite cities on the planet. Yeah. Every time I plan, we get closer and closer and I cancel. Or I know me and one of my friends, like even sitting here, I feel hot. Like I can feel it. One of my best friends, we had planned to go see Lucky Day in New York. And I think I canceled like 2 days before. I was just like, I can't do this. And the only reason why I made it last year is because it was work. And I was like, okay, like this is work. I have to show
Our ability to dissociate for work.
Crazy.
Gift and a curse, baby. Gift and a curse. Gift and a curse.
That's work. I have to be there. Like,
I'm so sorry.
I'm not going to be here.
I'm so sorry. What do you mean?
To me, it was like, I don't know. Like, again, I feel hot now just thinking about it because I'm like, in like 2 weeks, I'm supposed to be going to New York. Like, probably can't do it. And for some reason, because the cremation part of it all is like my dad's body. Like, they wanted me to go back a little bit. The day that I had to sign his death certificate, my mom and my sister went with me. They are angels in my life. But they went with me to sign all those things. But the lady asked, she was like, do you want to see his body once more before we cremate it? And I said no. And to this day, I regret that. Because my mom was like, are you sure? And I was like, I just don't want to see him like that because my dad had cancer. So even the very first time I saw him, once he got out on compassionate release, and I looked at him, I didn't even know it was him. I went back out into the hallway and was like, they said my dad is in here. She was like, oh, that is your dad. So somewhat like you. Yeah. Like, so it was like, oh no. And so I didn't want to see him that day. I was like, I can't even imagine what he looks like dead on a table.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. And so to this day, though, I regret that because I was maybe I should have seen him.
Let me release you from that, if I can, a little bit.
Yes.
And I am a keepsake ass nigga. Like, it's funny. I'm sitting here. My passport's right here. I have my other passports. I'm military brat. I lived overseas in Madrid as a kid. I have my childhood passport. Is it in here? I keep things.
Yeah.
And I've gotten so much better about that. And I went through an apartment complex fire, like literally next door last July.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get to my stuff. And when I couldn't get to my stuff, the two things that I was getting ready to nut up about was my dad's dog tags that had been through 4 wars.
Oh, baby.
And my
dad
cat.
Was also in the military. So yes.
So the cat and my dog and the dog tags are right here next to me. I wear them anytime I have on silver. I have them on.
This is a good, really quick segue, Rob. I'm sorry. I want to let you get back to releasing Nick from this, but like, what are the things that you have that you treasure?
Okay, I have a good answer for that.
I have his face. I have his whole face. I mean,
also that. Yes, you do.
Also that.
There are some days.
Yes, he does. Oh my God.
There are some days that I'll do things, and there are
full double take.
It's things that I have had to go, ooh, oh my God. And I did something recently. My mama was just like,
you look like your daddy.
Just like your daddy.
But even I even do things, and I'm honorary like him. And there's certain things that like he does that I didn't know he did that she was like your daddy. And I was like, oh my God. Either way, but I'm
so you got the dog tags.
Well, I have his dog tags. I have his Gucci watch. I have his Bulgari watch. I have some of his fragrance. My current aftershave.
Yes, go get one of them. Yes,
which is sitting right here.
That Aqua de Gel.
Yeah.
He loves smelling good. He was the only boy and the baby of his siblings, so he was selfish. And so if I would be in his stuff, I could go to school, come back home, and whatever I was in, he'd have me my own. Like, this is your stuff, my shit.
Yeah.
That being said, I'm a keepsake, sentimental. I have every card my mother has sent me for Valentine's Day, for my birthday, for Christmas. I keep stuff. I'm a hoarder in that sense. I've gotten better because the fire made me realize brass tacks what's important.
Yeah.
All that said, what I'm getting to is this. And I think this may be the difference maker. I was there when he took his last breath. I was there when the lights went out. This is just maybe me. That wasn't him no more.
Yeah.
The moment he took that last breath, and there was that Rob, I honored what was left. For those that were coming to see, I believe that the bereavement services are for everyone, of course, surviving, and typically for like those who were not there, like extended family, XYZ. Because by the time you go through all of this shit as a family, by the time the actual funeral happened, you're so fucking tired and so emotionally drained.
Yeah.
People be like, "Oh, you holding together real well, bitch." I done cried to the bottom of the well. It ain't shit left. This ain't me holding together. I'm on E. But the minute he took that last breath was I'm not a grave site. Even when my cat passed recently, they were like, "Do you want the ashes?" And I was like, they asked me like, they were like, "Do you want to, like, people, people taxidermy pets, people do all that kind of," and I was like,
I can't imagine.
I was there when my cat took his last breath. So I was like, he's gone. That is material representation of him having lived. But it's the spirit.
I just can't, like, something.
It's the
and I don't want to say
spirit.
because I don't like to lock up my life.
Exactly.
Like I'm just not there yet.
Not yet.
It's
but I
very
want to give
hard
you
for me to like. So yes, I do believe that going back to what you said about like dreams. My dad visits me all the time. I know he's okay. I know he's not in that box. I know he's not in those ashes. But I'm so territorial about those ashes that I'm just like, that's my dad.
What do you mean release?
To like release it bad. And that's why my mom was like, she's like, okay, we got to move through this at some point. Because it'll be like, what, 5? It was 5 years just this past October. Almost 6. And my mom is like, she was like, I think once you do that, it's going to release you from some things that you've been holding on to. Because there's just certain points where I didn't get closure. Like I told you about the estrangement of my family. So we didn't have a service. They had a service in New York. I wasn't there. So like there's a series of things that I didn't close things off. I didn't let things go. So my mom was like, you're just like this, but I have a vice grip on my dad because I lost him to the prison system. And then I lost him again in death. So I'm just kind of like, you know, and then I look to the future and I'm like, damn, you're not going to walk me down the aisle. Yeah. I have a niece, 2-year-old niece, and my sister still looks at him as her father, you know, by all intents and purposes. And like, she doesn't get to meet her grandfather. And then I'm going to have kids and they're not going to know you. So it's like, I'm just in a place. And I think that has, it stifled me in some ways. I live with it, but I know like it's barriers in a lot of different places in my life. I'm getting there. I don't think I'm a person that's not going to get there. It's it's still hard. Yeah,
it's a process.
Hard.
And it's a relationship that you've now forged with,
what's
not
left.
To say with the remains, with what you have.
Yeah.
And this is it's the thing you're holding on to while you sort through everything else, because like on the back end, there's the business of death is a bitch. You already heard you mentioned signing the death certificate.
Yeah.
And like, man,
swiping your card for a coffin is crazy.
Like when I had to pay before they gave me the ashes, and my dad was in the military, they hand you the flag and stuff. I had to pay for that. I had a panic attack in the car. I was like, what?
My mother put the casket on her, the whole funeral on her stamps car so she could get points.
That
some Leo shit.
Because like
also if you separate like the spiritual aspect of it and then you think about like the real world physical happening, the business, it's like, oh my God, it feels so like dark when you look at it as that clinic.
It's hard to exist in that in-between space. And like acknowledging that like that those things exist and are very real and that like you have to do it. What are, and you kind of like touched on it, so there's like a really good segue. What are the things that you all have had to make peace with about your father in their passing? Like the things that like, I really needed some answers to this, or like you was really on some fuck shit that like I will never be able to like challenge you about or press you about or get clarity on. Like what are the things that like you've had to,
I know how to take a deep breath. As I told you, I'm not going to cry this podcast. Before I had a lot of shame because my dad, as brilliant and funny, he poured into so many affirmations for me. Like I have confidence and self-esteem because of my dad. Like my mom was a little bit more emotionally shut off as we were growing up, but my dad, everything he had, he threw it to me.
Yeah.
You're the most beautiful. You're confident. You have my last name. You are a McGloster. You are going to be great in this world. Whatever you want to be, you got it. Like, and I have letters. So that's the kind of give and take of incarceration. I have a bunch of letters where my dad was pouring into me constantly. So I have a box full of these things where I can revisit it when I don't feel that way about myself, right?
Can we talk about that just really quick?
Yeah,
just like,
of course.
I can't, like, there's so much shit that I cannot accept because like this nigga did it. I'm so sorry, babes.
Yeah.
Or my mama, like I have it because I got it from my mama.
But like, whoever I date, I'd be like, I had it.
You just can't, baby. You just can't play on my time.
Yeah.
You just can't play on my time.
You can't talk to me type of way. Like, I had a dad who poured it to me.
One of the first things my dad ever did with me when I was a kid was he would say, what do you say when someone says you're handsome? And my response was supposed to be,
I know.
Fuck you, motherfucker, I'm pretty.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
My dad was like it was like a pageant dad. My daddy poured into me, and he wasn't worried about. He was like, go get them toes done, go get them hands done, go make sure
make sure you look right.
Brush them eyebrows, brush that mustache, shape your shit up. Like, and I remember my mother was so when I was in college in 2000. My mother was upset because I wanted to get my ears pierced. And she was like, nah. Her best friend was like, let that boy do what he want. And she was like, well, people going to think. And she was like, people going to think regardless. And so I remember when I finally went and did it, I just said, fuck it. I'm going to got him pierced. My dad had the one that you could get pierced in the 90s, but people think it was gay, whatever.
Yeah, the right one, whatever what it was. Yeah.
Some stupid shit. This dumb shit. So I remember I was coming home and he was outside my dad was bald like me. He was outside in some shorts, his Air Force boots, like a tank top, looking like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I've been washing his car.
I was going to say very Tumblr aesthetic, to be honest.
Very Stone Cold. A lot of my aesthetic is my father. So I come home and we're talking for a good 5 or 10 minutes. So he done looked at me a few times. So after we got done talking about, he looked at me, he said, so you had to do both of them? If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. He said, that shit gonna be pissed. And he said, go ahead.
Yeah, that's how your dad, I feel like that's how your dads should be. Like both of your parents, ideally. But when I talk to people about their fathers, that's one thing that that's my reference point. Is that like my dad poured into me. He was my biggest champion. So like losing that was really hard. But the one thing that I wrestled with while he was alive was that like, as brilliant and funny and awesome and as amazing as my dad was to me and how I looked at him, I thought people would, I had some shame because I didn't want people to think, oh, he's just a criminal or he just did these things. My dad was highly educated. He was funny. He was curious, all these things. He just was living a lifestyle and had mental health struggles that led him down a certain path. Yeah. And so I had shame sometimes and I didn't always want to share as openly about my dad because of that. But now since he passed, I really feel like I don't have that anymore. I'm so proud of him. Like scream to the rooftop. A lot of the ideas and the foundation that I have is because of him or is dedicated to him. Like when I have Nick FM or when I have the Niki newsletter, those are all things because he poured into me. He would make me sit and read, or the reason why I love music the way I was is because of him. So I just feel like I just don't carry that shame anymore. And so those are the things I made peace with. Like, he made some bad choices, but that's not who he was as a man. Yeah. Like, he was so much bigger than that. Yeah, and so I made a lot of peace with that. And I feel like I'm still making peace with the abandonment parts of it too. Yeah. Like the abandonment issues. I think, again, there's certain levels and there's a book, I'll find it. So maybe it's called The Fatherless Daughter Project, because they say in that book, they says that you lose your father in a lot of different ways. And I think I lost him to the prison system. And so that was a source of abandonment, but I've made a lot of peace with those things. He's always with me in a sense. Yeah. And so,
For sure. For me is, because like I told you all, like I didn't necessarily grow up with my dad. And like that for me, especially like knowing that like he was okay. I have a younger brother who, for all his purposes, like grew up with like both of his parents. Like he was there with my dad. My brother's mom and our dad weren't together. So like he was going back and forth between like their houses, but they lived in the same city. And it's like he got to spend like his life growing up having like both of them. And so in a lot of ways when we reconnected, I had to make peace with that and like coming into the realization of that as an adult, like so much of like who my brother is has been shaped by like him having my dad in his life.
Physically there.
Yeah. And like I can see it in him. And like it's something that like I cherish about my brother and also mourn for myself. Because it's like who is the Ryan that we would have had Marcellus had been there, right? Like we will never know. Like I had to mourn that Ryan. I had to like release the idea of that Ryan to appreciate and like enjoy like the Ryan that I have now. And so like that's one of the things that like I'll never get answers to. Is just kind of like, what were your feelings during that time where we weren't speaking, when I wasn't seeing you? What did you think was happening? What were you thinking about? Why didn't you reach out? Like, and like he had given, like when we reconnected, he gave me just kind of like a kind of like cursory, like, like I thought that you were upset at me, but it's like, I was a child. What do you mean you thought that I was upset with you?
You're the adult. You could have called to check.
Absolutely.
And ask. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like,
I have those feelings around my dad as well. Like, why didn't you make better choices so that you could be here? You know what I'm saying? Because before, and he was in and out. Let me not say, like, he was physically there. And then his last stint, which started around 2010, I believe, I didn't have him until he came home. So for me, it's like, I did get to have you there. Then divorce took you away. Then I had you again. And then your in and outs of jail took you away. And then the last stint took you, like, why didn't you have better for me? And I guess, or why didn't you make better decisions for me? But my question for you is, what are the questions that still exist? Because to me, it's like, I don't know. I still have a lot of questions. And maybe it's because I'm mad at God sometimes. Yeah. But I'm just like, what, like, who am I going to be when I'm married and you're not there? Or because I think you always need your father. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm always gonna have questions like, who would you have been as a grandfather? Or so are there still questions that you have like that?
For me, okay, so my dad was, oh God, I'm thinking about like my grandmother hearing this and my brother hearing this and my sister. But like my dad was outside.
Outside.
My dad was outside. And I think about like his funeral and like the women that he dated over the course of his life and all of them like showing up. And just kind of like, I remember like they wanted to take a picture at the end of like after we'd had the service, after we had dinner, we all like went out to a bar and like everybody was there. And like the group of like the women of my dad's life taking a picture together and just like the nature of that. And it's like we are all here because like our connection to this one man. And it's like it's crazy because I remember my mom having a conversation while we were there with someone just kind of about like the similarities between like my dad and I when it came to dating. And mind you, like at the time I was fully in a relationship. The relationship was there.
To be there, right?
Like, so I'm just like, hey, girl, chill. Like, but on the other side of that and like being single now, like I'm so curious why, like what he was chasing, right?
Yeah.
Like I have such a fully formed idea about like who I am and how it is that I love, how it is that I seek partnership, how it is that I date. And so I am moving through these things with a very specific intentionality, even though on the outside looking in, especially from my mom's perspective, we probably look identical. And so I'm really curious, like what his approach to like dating and like love and like partnership was.
Yeah.
Like I know that like his longest relationship, like it ended around like them being on different pages around like parenthood, I think. But like outside of that, like he was in like a bunch of different relationships at different points in his life. And it's like, what was the thing?
Dating. So dating and grief is such a very specific space because who I was pursuing at that moment, to Nikki's earlier point, had kind of dropped the ball. And we had been going through we both had been going through like a lot of very unique one-off experiences and had to some degree been there for each other. But I think we began to step outside of each other's wheelhouse as life continued lifing, and we're both in our early 30s and whatnot. And so it was funny because I was in the shower and I was like playing gospel, going through some hymns and just kind of preparing myself before my dad passed. And in that moment, I had to go ahead in advance. And Ryan, as a Capricorn, you as a Taurus as well, will get this. I had my big speeches prepared, and I had my big talk that we needed to have. And when my dad was passing, I was like, I need all of this bandwidth.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. I can't save this space anymore for a talk that we're supposed to have already had, that we're gonna eventually have. I gotta show up in some ways because, like, my mom and sister were there for everything. So when I got home, I said, I got it from here. And to the point that I like wrote the order of service, I wrote the obituary, I spoke at the funeral, I was a pallbearer. It hit when it hit. And so I knew I wasn't going to have anything else in that realm or space. And I don't know who I was going to come out the other side of that. So in that preparing, I had to go ahead and forgive that individual in advance.
Yeah.
And so whenever my dad passed, that was the first person that called me. Like, well, who died? And I was like, well, if I'm the third, then the second. But to clearly tell you that was my dad.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
And so I said, I actually just forgave you in advance because he's like, why? So we go through all of that. Long, short, we start speaking, we start back speaking, we start speaking, just the regular shit. He died last year, in May of last year. And so it was crazy because I had to forgive him in advance to start mourning my father, to get ready to mourn my father. Now I have to forgive you to mourn you.
I'm sorry. Condolences for that. Yeah.
I mean, 2020, that was 2023. Excuse me. And so, yeah, but that was the beginning of like a lot of different things, just like how I looked at my intentionality in general. It was like a re-up of that, like from when my dad passed. But like when my dad passed, it just was such, and there's studies on like how grief impacts like relationships, dating, your hormones, like everything.
Yeah.
And it was
glad you mentioned that. Go ahead. Yeah.
Because you just want a little comfort. You want a little comfort, but you want to.
That blindsided me though. That's something that I didn't know was going to happen. Like, I think I was like 6 months out from my dad passing, and my sexual activity went through the roof. Not like in different places, but I was talking to somebody at the time, and I was just so wound up. Yeah. And I didn't see that, but I was like, I don't want to talk. I don't want to cry. All I want to do is drink and have sex. And that was like very foreign for like me, even to this day. Like, of course that died off now, but like that was such a foreign concept to me. But I was like, this is the only way that I'm going to feel good right now. And I did not know that was going to happen. And when I speak, I don't speak about it often, but when I've spoken about it with friends, they're like, really? You, like, how were you even in the mood? I was like, I don't know. That was the only mood I was in. Yep. Like, for real. So, yeah.
This is a good, so in the wake of that, right? Like, that was kind of like an almost like immediate impact. Being some years out from it now, how have you changed as a result? Like, things directly tied to the loss of your father. I think
go ahead. I want you to go first, please. Yeah.
I was gonna say, for me, and Rob, like when we were talking earlier about like the things that we have, like I have my dad's pledging book, and then he has a AFI rugby shirt because he played rugby, and he was like the only one like in his line. So like he has like, they made him like a special like AFI black and gold like rugby shirt that I had.
That's fire.
And it's just like I cherish those things, but like having it and like having pieces of him, having tangible pieces of him, and the memory, like we talked about, like Nick, you not wanting to see your dad, Rob, you being there when he passed. My uncle and I went to go essentially like help them prepare the body. Like I gave him like a lineup and like trimmed his beard and his casket before. Like I was like I'm sending my boy off right.
That's such a blessing. That is such a blessing.
Yeah. Like I don't know what called me to do it, but it was just very much like I need to be able to like do this. I need to be able to have this time with him. And now it is just like my mother made sure I had a voice. And my father, I think, showed me what to do with it, right? My mother allowed me the space to be able to, like, find, you know, like, how I talk, how I speak, the things that are important to me. And my dad showed me that, like, if you love somebody, tell them. Like, the last thing that, like, my dad said to me, like, the last thing we said to each other was, I love you. And it's like I knew very, like, beyond a shadow of a doubt, like that we were good. Yeah. And so like that is so important to me. And like that is a thing that like is so important to me now, like some years later, and the thing that like that I prioritize and that like is really important to me is just like I'm never going to miss an opportunity to tell somebody that I love them, that I care about them, even just like strangers on the street. Like I gas up like everybody I see. Like if you look cute, your outfit is like hidden, like I'm gonna tell you. Yeah. Because it's like I want to, like, it just, I feel like, yes, like, that's so dope. And, like, I know what it feels like to receive that. Because
that's how I am as an educator. Because, so right now I'm learning to teach. It's a whole nother story. But, like, I am a substitute teacher right now because I'm in school and studying for the praxis, blah, 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 blah. But in school, because I teach the little kindergarten through third graders, I'm like Miss Honey, if you've ever seen Matilda. Yes. Like, I'm constantly, like, empathetic, pouring into them affirmations like crazy. Like, girl, you look cute, because my dad gave me that. Yep. So that's all I know is to pour into these other people. And I think, to your question about the relationships, I need depth. I can't, because I came from that place when the grief was like, oh, it was all sexual energy. It was like really I didn't really care. Like the person I was dealing with, of course I cared about them, but the activity that was happening, the sexual connection was just that. It was just sex. But like, and that was a situationship. So, you know, it's already void of real emotion. So now in my relationships and the person that I end up with, there's got to be so much depth and compassion. You have to understand, I don't know how I can really articulate this. I don't want them to think there's a third person in a relationship, but you have to understand how much my dad means to me and what that did and how I'm processing that. And I need you to hold space for that. And I need you to honor that in some way, whether it's, I don't know. I've always seen like a groom will do something really special at the wedding, or they'll have some. It's just, you need to understand that was one of the most important relationships in my entire life. So I think that's what I've learned, is that emotion over everything. Like I need you to understand me. I need you to be deep and compassionate and considerate. And maybe that's what people require in any instance. But for me, because I've gone through such a traumatic thing, it's it lords over everything. Like there's no space. Even if I'm just dating you, even if we're just talking, even if we're just having a good time, there has to be that emotional depth emotional depth. And I require that in my friendships. And like, I remember I lost a friend last year because he was like, this just feels really intense. And I was like, but you're my friend and I love you. And I don't know why you don't understand it. Like, you're understanding it as if like I'm falling in love with you, but like, no, I love you because you're my friend. Like, and this is how I show my love now, because I never want to lose that. So I don't know. It's really changed how I process things in all of my relationships, romantic or platonic. So
yeah. What about you, Rob?
It has to be worth the grief.
It's a good way to put it.
Everything has to be worth the grief. Because it's like
that's powerful.
I've been dealing with loss since I was like major loss since I was like 17. My best friend at the time died from leukemia, and he was 18. And so it's something and I spoke at his funeral. It's something I've become, unfortunately, intimate with. And like, Ryan, like our community, especially in batches, especially with suicide, and like it's always the end of the year. It's always like a hit. I am relieved when I don't know who it is. And my condolences still. My mother is so tied into community, and now she even works at a funeral home. So I call her Morticia. But she is so tied in, and she's at this person's funeral and that person's funeral. I said, Mom, I understand, and I understand you still in your hometown and you know everybody, but you gotta save that space for when it really hits, because you're not gonna know how to process, because you've anesthetized the process. So you're not gonna know how to deal with it when it hits really close. It took my mother. My mother didn't cry for the first 8 months after my daddy died. It was his birthday that she cried.
So were your parents still together?
Legally.
Okay. Okay.
Which was a whole nother dynamic. My mother asked me, like, right after my dad died, how soon I was okay with her dating. And I said, well, your husband dated while y'all were married, so do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And even in that gave me, that turned into having a 17-year-old daughter almost. And I was having to kind of coach her through dating and social media and this, that, and the other. So, and I think she also dated out of response and out of anger and out of a lot of different things. And she dated men that were not like my father, only to then hate them later on because they were not like my father.
Wow.
Baby.
So it was a lot of navigating.
Wow.
My sister, and I honor and respect who my sister was to him. My sister was really the last woman in his life. Fathers and their daughters is something different. The mamas can never compete with that. They shouldn't try to compete with that. You're never gonna be to that man who their daughter is to that man, and you're gonna have to get okay with that.
You're gonna have to be okay with it.
Yeah, it's a different thing. I had questions I can ask y'all at the very end about those experiences, like the differences in being a man who. Really? Okay. Yeah. So the questions that I have.
You too, Rob. Whenever, just like jump in with your questions. Yeah.
So I want to know how losing your father specifically affected how you are as a man in the world. And then the second question was just how losing your father, do you feel like society and culturally specifically gives you men, specifically Black men, the floor to grieve? Like how much space did you feel like you had in a society and in our culture? So sorry, I hit you with two major ones.
I know, but I'm gonna tie because I was finishing my other just about how it changed me.
Okay.
Not that it will be easy, but my sister and I had to have an honest conversation one day about, should this go the order of things as we like it to, and we stay here for longer. We had to do this again.
Yeah.
And I think it's also knowing that you will survive it. I don't think that you think in those moments that you'll survive it.
Yeah.
So I think that it's made me stronger. I think that relative to whatever dynamic I'm applying it to, there's nothing that I can't get through. That doesn't mean I'm going to invite things to get through.
Right.
Maybe.
Right. I don't want to go through it, but I can get through it.
Yeah, but I know at brass tacks, like I'll survive with all my sanity, not necessarily, but I know that I can come out the other end of these things. And it just, like I said, it makes you just way more intentional with your time, way more intentional with your relationships. And I heard one of y'all speak about just, giving and pouring into people. My dad was social. He was a charmer. He was funny as hell. And I inherited a lot of that. And I love taking care of and being there for people. And then I had to remind myself that I was people.
Yeah.
And so it does give me, it's giving me that it's a lot of times when I remember how much he thought I was that nigga. And so remembering that I'm that nigga.
Exactly.
And also the damage that comes with that. And I think as you don't realize how far out the grief ripples until you grow to meet it. And then you get there and you go, ooh, and so there's a lot of things that my dad's absence before he died, a lot of programming that caused and created. I never doubted, and this is the dangerous part of that. I've never doubted that he loved me. It was his ability to show up and express that in the ways that I needed that was sometimes the issue.
That was the last.
And so what that also then did was pair a reality of someone being able to care for you and then also not showing up for you and that being okay.
Yeah.
Right. Because you get used to it. It's not. Yeah.
Because you're used to it. And so I had to realize that my belief that I didn't need certain things didn't mean I didn't need certain things.
Yeah.
And my belief that it was okay for you to be over there and I can deal with the absence, and that I had normalized that, and that also wasn't okay. And so you start to realize, like, as you get older, like how bad your parents fucked you up without even meaning to. There's the things that they did.
Because they
Baby.
There's the things that they did that they should be held accountable for. There's the things that they did that they don't even have the wheelhouse today to be able to fix. And there's the things that they did that they're just completely unconscious of who and how it would affect down the road. Yeah, I'm 43, so I can't be holding them to the grass about, but I'm just like, oh my God, like this even affected that. Having the courage and the ability to constantly rewrite this version of me as I so need, and he believed in that. My dad was huge on me being inquisitive, huge on me being an intellect, huge on a lot of who I am at my core. I walked into most doors before the aesthetic was the aesthetic. Intellect first, a brain first, a nerd first. So when all of this fades or goes, or as this ages, or as this does whatever it's gonna do, and I'm gonna fight to keep it where it is. But as all of this is as long as this is here,
baby.
You can run circles around people as long as your mind is right. As long as you're smart.
Baby.
That's all you need. Yep.
He never was shy about how proud of who I was holistically. He never had a problem with any of it. He met my friends. He loved my friends. When so-and-so coming back, I want to be with them again. They fun. Like, he was a good time. And I think my dad had been so many people and had done so many things in his life that were deemed like things you can't bounce back from. He didn't have a judgmental bone in his body. He loved everybody.
Yeah.
And so I think that's who it's turned me into. Society does not create space for Black boys to do but
much of anything. Yeah.
We are supposed to be extremely one-dimensional in our expression and how we receive things. So that would definitely include grief. But because of what I just described, I'm going to get what I need.
Well, yeah.
I'm so glad you said that, because and this is just to underline that and to further answer your question, Nick, I don't think, and I've seen this, right? There is no space for Black men to grieve. There is no space for Black boys to grieve, Black queer men to grieve, right? Excuse me. And a lot of that is Black men's own doing, which is a whole other conversation. But a lot of that is our own doing. And in being aware of that, while I have seen so many of my friends, my peers, people that I'm close to be in spaces where they were not afforded the opportunity to grieve or to feel or to fall apart, in knowing that and in knowing that it wasn't going to be given to me, I've worked so hard to carve that out for myself.
Okay.
And that's my mama. My mama is take what you need. Do what, if it's something that you need, make sure that you get it. And so that can be the reality, but you can also change, at least here to some degree, what your reality is. And so I have no problem saying today is the day. I just need this day.
Yeah.
I'm crying today, y'all. I'm so sorry. I don't have it. I don't have it. So much of my work in therapy is around, and this goes back to the point that you were making, Rob. So much of my work in therapy has been around dating, relationships, and the way that I show up in relationships. And in discussing those things and learning about myself in those situations, I am seeing so much of the effects of my parents, whether by things that they did intentionally or by things that they did not do, and those things not being done having their effects. And so it has been really interesting living in this space of who I am and who I'm becoming and who I'm working towards being, and learning on an almost daily basis about a thing that I have done that was informed by something that I experienced with my parents or did not experience with my parents. And then having to be okay with that. Because I can't ask that man now.
Yeah. Right. You have to find closure for yourself.
I can't press him about any of that right now. Nope. I just have to be okay with it. And that has, like we were talking about earlier, like that has been the inspiration for me to like have so many of these conversations with my mother and like being so thankful that like her being a Black woman of a certain age, like mind you, like she was, like I said, she was young when she had me, so she's still young now, but like her being a Black woman of a certain age that is like in therapy and is like, grown to a place of like now she is challenging. You know, like she was in a space where it's like, there are certain things that I don't want to ask questions about or certain things that I don't want to like deal with because like that means that like I will have to distance myself from like a person or distance myself from like a family member and like not wanting to like address that. And like now she's at the place where it's like, actually the most important thing is me healing. Yeah. So if that means I have to lose you in the process for us to like deal with this, I'll talk about this. That's what that is. And in her, first of all, just being so immensely proud of her for that. But like that has also opened us up to be able to have so many conversations, so many difficult conversations that I just didn't get to have with my dad, and not wanting to like have the same questions with her that I had with him.
With him, yeah. I think my dad's passing brought me and my mother closer as well, just from the conversations that we've had to have. And also I think the way that she's seen me go through my grief, whether it's days that I'm struggling or days that I'm okay, I think she's like, I know my daughter needs this now. Like I said, my mom, as much as I love her, that's my girl now. We've had our moments and she wasn't always as emotionally open, but she's opened up because she's like, we've reached the point, like I always say, that's that split, right? Yeah. Like she's on this timeline with me knowing I needed her to crack open. Like I needed her. And it wasn't a floodgate, but she definitely slowly was like, oh, she needs this. Or she'll randomly tell me a story. She knows at certain points where I need her. And I'm so grateful. And I'm proud of her. My mom is 60. She'll be 65 this year. My mom doesn't come from an era where you talked about all these feelings and all these things. And so I am, like you said, you're proud of your mom. I'm proud of my mom too. Like you just start to see them as people.
Yeah. My mother will be 64 on August the 12th.
Those Leos. Yeah.
She's pretty young as well, and we routinely tap that head. And it's to the point now where like we had a tapping during like Christmas, and we moved Christmas to my sister's place recently, so as to remove the environmental triggers that lead to my mother not being best self around the holidays and not connecting the dots that she is acting out because my father is not here, and he was huge on the holidays.
Recognizing that, like, environmental triggers, baby. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
We moved her from that space so as to disable and disarm those things. Yeah. And now we like, even when we are like, when it's not as emotional anymore, like we drag in the moment. So that we're not trying to be like, because what you did to me, like, girl, no, we're gonna do this right now in this moment. No, we're gonna start with no.
Yeah.
And we're gonna address this as is in this moment, so that you have the example handed to you. It's ready, and it isn't a matter of when did I do that? Or when now.
That's how me and my sister are. And sometimes it sounds like a tag team, even though it's not. We do it with love, but we catch her in the moment. We be like, girl. Girl, we ain't doing that. So I think that's beautiful.
We be tapping Rochelle's shoulder and letting her know a thing or two, and we be eating her up in love, and it be just like this, and it don't be no affect on it. We don't holler, we don't scream.
Right.
It's just like that was ugly. Do you see why? But it took my mother probably about 2 years to like say out loud and admit, like, I lost a husband that I was, legally married to, but separated from, lived in the same household. You lost a father. I don't know what that is. Her dad died when she was 2 weeks old.
Yeah.
My uncle raised her.
Okay.
And that's what I look like. I look like him and my father. And so she didn't get it and I was like, well, and for me it was like, well, yeah, duh. But she was like, it just didn't click to me.
It had to click for her. Yeah.
And it took 2 years. And it was kind of like, girl, what? But it is what it is, and the journey is what the journey is, and you don't really hold. I'm happy she got there. However long it may have taken, it wasn't no sweat off my back. As we said, Ryan, we already were carving out the spaces that we need, because I think especially as Black queer men, you get off the train of what they tell you life's supposed to be very early.
Mm-hmm.
We have a midlife crisis at 7. So so you go through a lot of the like programming and desocializing early on, because you have to investigate those things because you're being told you're an abomination. You have to go investigate those things because you're being told that you're soft and the world doesn't allow that of black men. You have to go investigate. So we're getting off the train of like life is going to be XYZ very early.
Very early.
Yeah.
And you get used to having to carve out that space.
I'm glad that y'all take that because, like I said, it was a question for me because I don't have that experience. And I guess my secondary question to that is, how would you guys like people to hold space for you if you're experiencing something like this? Like, is it different? Does it show up differently? Because I know, and I'll say, as you're thinking about it, the way that kind of sort of what I meant by like in my romantic or even platonic relationships, like as a daddy's girl who lost her daddy, I lost an anchor. So sometimes I feel a lot like I'm floating, like, oh my goodness. And sometimes I'm just looking for that person to pour into me. And I know in therapy, I learned, she was like, your relationship with your father was singular. It was the thing that you had with him, but everybody's not going to be your dad. And so I had to learn, especially in romantic relationships, like that's not your dad. So he's not supposed to do things exactly like how your father did. So you need to recognize that. So the way that I ask people to hold space for me is know that some days my expectations are probably misaligned.
Yeah.
You have free reign to check me on that because I'm still learning, but also know that there are going to be things that I need, whether it's words of affirmation. I may need a little extra because that is something that I missed because my anchor is gone. I say all that to say, how do you guys need people to hold space for you while you're going through that?
There's two parts of that, and this is why I don't mind commanding the space that I need. Is because everybody is over their journey, right? And you guys both know and understand that this is a space that you can't really tell anybody about. They kind of have to go through it, and I don't wish it on us all.
Same.
So until you kind of go through it, you really do not get it, and I'm not going to hold you obligate you to getting it. That also being said, to me, of the emotional spectrum and emotional bandwidth necessary to show up for somebody grieving, it's one of the easier asks because it ain't really shit you got to do but listen and show up and be there.
Yeah.
It ain't really asking much of you.
That's
You can't bring the person back.
Yeah.
You can't do anything major in this moment, but really, I know it's uncomfortable, but of the like things that demand emotional maturity or bandwidth or intelligence, helping someone that's grieving really isn't, because like most of it is going to be them on their own, you know, or them with people that are close to them or that know the person, whatever case may be. All you got to do is show up. Case in point, somebody I was trying to get to know recently when my cat died, and I'm not comparing my cat to my father, though traumatic, but it was like,
though traumatic.
They were like, I came back to where we were in a shared space, and it was like, I'm not good with none of that death stuff, so I don't really know what to say. So
I don't like that. Because you're right. Grief is singular. And I said that earlier. It is. But I require understanding. I'm sorry. I just do.
like
There's
when I
no,
say,
you either, and then if
from
you don't
you-
have that, then that means you don't have a certain level of humanity that I require from the people around me.
And I'm
Because
so-
yes,
that's
you
it.
can,
It's quite simple.
It's basic humanity. Like, no, I'm not saying that you got to understand my grief. It is my journey to get through. But if you are not understanding, that is some dark shit, and get away from me.
the
I'm
ink
sorry.
on the paw prints was barely dry.
See?
Like I had just left the band field.
The
and
way
you
I
giving
would have
me-
flipped.
Same.
We would have
But
been
you know
moving
I-
furniture, baby.
Well, you know I did.
Big time. Big time.
For you, like I'm like, this is your response. Like you're telling me off rip, and somebody else was standing there, were like, yeah, he's not
That's-
good with that. And I was like, yeah, I can tell you're not good with this. All you really have to say is my condolences. How are you?
It's
That's it.
really quick.
There
You
isn't
could
a
have just
big
shut the fuck
ask.
up,
There
actually.
isn't a big ask here.
Like, you could have
so-
just shut the fuck up. Like,
You
deep
can't
down.
handle this, then I know you're not going to be able to handle like the bigger things, or if a person in my life should
Definitely not.
transition, You're not the
And
one,
what does
baby.
that mean? I'm not good with, like, what does that mean?
Well, I don't know what it
What it
means,
tell-
but I know
what
this
it-
is you're centering yourself in this moment, and I
Yes.
don't give a
Bow.
fuck about you.
Bow.
Yes. You are
I
being
can't
just
fucking
decide
selfish.
12 hours
Because you're
ago,
uncomfortable. Yes. Yes.
Bingo.
out of here in one of the same boxes that my stuff got delivered to me in from the fire.
That's got me
It
tight
means-
just thinking about it.
Means that you were selfish,
Mm-hmm.
and it means that you were uncomfortable with sitting with big feelings.
Yeah.
And those diametrically opposed to everything that I am in.
Like, no
Everything that I am.
relationship in my life
I'm
can
so sorry, babe.
sustain that. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, babe.
Shit,
It's
like,
a-
so
it's
at
a
that
snack
moment,
and a
I was
wrap.
like, that was like the third strike, and I was like, we are good.
We can't be
are-
friends.
And then-
we
and so
can't
before
fuck.
I-
We can't do none of that.
Before I knew it, it was like, I'm not good at that. And before I knew it, in my full cousin faith regalia, what are you good at?
Hello?
Out loud. I said that out loud.
You know what? While we're here,
we're gonna go there. Oh, are you gonna do this at my job?
Could you clarify for me? Because
No,
personally, I've had
I would love to know
some difficulty finding.
You ain't
So
good.
what are you good at?
You ain't good at this. You ain't good at. Then what are you good at? What are we doing?
That's crazy.
Offended. Like when I say I stood in it and gave. What you good at?
Yeah. Because that's a lack of humanity, and that to me is just some dark shit. I can't get with that.
For me, it's
somewhere else.
It's very much the same. It's like I am hyper independent to a fault.
Mm-hmm.
It is the obstacle of me dating.
Like, you see, I posted on IG the other day.
Obstacle.
It's bad.
It is the obstacle for me dating. I am hyper independent to a fault.
Yeah.
But in the times that I do ask for help, and in the times that I do allow somebody in,
don't let me down.
Oh, baby,
don't let me down.
You'll never get another chance. There's no coming back. You'll never get another chance.
I am.
You will
clean.
never get another chance.
I will block you. Because you serve no purpose here. You are useless.
I want you to understand. I want you to understand. Like there's no recovery.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I don't require a lot because I am so independent. It's like, if you are here, right? Like honestly, I just need the acknowledgement of you in this space.
Yes.
Like being able to like feel your presence here is most often enough. There are some people that like I can receive touch from where it's like you can hold me or like I will lean into you. But most often I just need you to be here. I don't need you asking me how I'm feeling. I don't need you asking me what can you do. I just need you to be here and to be quiet
present
with me. Yeah. My brother and I would talk about this like as the years would pass. Like there are days where it'll hit you, right? Like this nigga is gone. And like not just like gone, like, you know, he overseas or he in a different time zone. It's like, no, this nigga is gone.
Existent. No more existent.
Like, it is a level of it's a level of finality that you do not encounter anywhere else.
Yes.
And like making like there's like to this day, we are what? This is 2025, 7 years out. I still have not gotten to the place of like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean he's not here? That's crazy. No. Yeah. And like, but then there are also days where it's like, it doesn't cross my mind, especially as we get closer. And it's like my body will remember and like things will like start acting up. I'll be more emotional. I'll be like less patient.
And you're like, why am I like,
why? Then your brain has to catch up.
And then like, I'll talk to my brother and like, we'll be like, you know, like there are days where it's like people will reach out, like people will reach out on his birthday and I'll reach out on the day that he passed and be like, hey, just thinking of you. And one or two things will happen. And I'm saying this not because like I want people to stop doing that. I appreciate when they do. But as someone that's in it, what happens is if I am thinking about it, then it's like, okay, cool. You know, I get that. I understand that. But if I'm not thinking about it, then it's just like, well, now I am. And then it's just like, all right, well, I guess, you know, I was
now we're
fine.
Here. Right. And now we're here again.
Like I was.
Right. And I think I mentioned it before. Sometimes I'll wake up and for a split second in the morning, I forget.
Yeah.
And that happens often. Not every morning, but that little window of like first waking up.
You want to talk about feeling the earth turn?
Bruh, that will wreck my day. If not my whole day, at least my morning for a while. Because I'm like, damn, why did my body forget? Yeah, like why did my mind forget that? And then you have to.
It feels like a betrayal.
It does.
It feels like a betrayal.
Does.
Like
absolutely does.
Oh my God.
It's so bad.
And October is 9 years for me, and it's like I'm a little bit past that point finally. But it took to probably where you guys are, if not longer, to get to that point of just like, and even still, like some days Nicole, my sister, and I get on the phone, we're like, bitch.
See?
Yep. And that's all I got for you. That's all I have for you. Is like, girl.
You know, Yep. And grief is long. I think people don't realize it. Well, I don't even want to say people. Yeah, I don't want to say even other people. When I first started therapy, I remember telling her, because again, earth sign, I just want to get over this. How do I get past this?
I was getting ready to say that's the biggest lie.
How do I just go ahead and move on from this so I don't feel this anymore? And my therapist looked at me and she was like,
"What do you mean?
Get over it. Like, what do you mean?
You sound crazy."
You like and I was dead serious when I went in. I was like, because I had already. Maybe this was like.
I have never been more serious.
Was dead serious.
And
I was like,
serious.
bitch, I am paying you. I am paying you big money. You have
to have the answer.
Tools. Yeah, like
what's the roadmap?
What's the roadmap? And she was like, get over it. What do you mean? She looked at me like I had 10 heads, but I was very serious. I was like, I need to figure out how to like move these into like a box and block these up because I can't function anymore. Like, I was a year out. I was at a new job. I was like losing my mind. I was like, I don't know where I'm at in life. I am a floater. I am on an island. I was like in it was in a nasty situationship. I was drinking way too much. I was like, I was just self-medicating and escaping. And I said, okay, lady, so that I can become a fully functioning person again. Yeah, like the next, like, where do we go from here? And she was like, it's for the rest of your life. So you're going to have to start facing some of this shit.
Yeah, babe.
And I think that's when it really hit me like, wow. Now you gotta start figuring all this stuff out. But as an earth sign specifically, that is not an easy thing to do. We are the type of people that, like, there's a problem, there's a solution, but there is no solution for grief. You just live it. And that was the hardest thing for me to accept. That was the hardest thing.
And you don't and death is axiomatic. Yeah. It is not deserved. It is not earned. It is not. It's going to happen.
It just
regardless
is.
Of,
just is.
You can expedite that bitch. You can get that bitch a little bit quicker than you was looking for.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there was no promise to even you getting a long situation. So I look at it like a tree growing in the middle of your house, and you have no choice about it. It's there.
It's there.
And that tree is going to bloom sometimes, and it's going to be barren sometimes, but it's always going to be inconvenient.
And it's going to be in the way. It's always in the way.
Inconvenient and in the way, and you have to learn how to live around it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
To bring it back to our love fest about Black women earlier, like, it truly is like what got me through, right? Like, aside from like my partner flying in to be with me, my mom showed up. My mom and my dad were like, they still had a really good, like, my dad and my mom weren't dating. They were just like hanging out, having fun, hooking up.
That's nice.
I think it's so sweet.
Yeah, like,
I think
at that age,
so progressive. It's so progressive to me. It's just like, that's kind of lit.
Yeah, it is.
But like, my grandmother cherishes my mother. And so my mom was showing up not just for me, but for her and for my brother and for my sister. And mind you, this lady is like going through cancer treatment, flew in. And when I tell you, like, she was like my hitter the entire time, just like block and tackle, like, y'all not bringing them no bullshit. Like, and she like, and my mom was like all of like 5'5", 120 at her heaviest, but like all mouth and all muscle. Like, and that's where I get it from. But it's like, I'm like an imposing presence, right? And then going, like, we buried that man on Friday. I flew back to LA on Saturday. I was at work on Monday. My boss, a Black woman, was like, baby, I don't know what the fuck you think you're doing, but you're going home. Like,
saving from yourself.
Like, it's just like the craziness of like, I couldn't see it for myself. Like, I didn't have the thought of it, of how to care for myself in those moments. And had it not been for them showing up, like, as the forces that they were, like, this wasn't an invitation for debate, babe.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And that's what Black women, that's what we do. Sometimes we're not saying it to be naggy or whatever. We're telling you what you need because we can see it. And we know what you need in that moment.
And that leads me to a question that I had on my list, and my boss at the time. So I started the job with right after, as an executive, right after my dad passed. And my boss at the time, random white guy, a few years older than me, was from my hometown. He knew my family. His father and my father were in the same squadron. His father knew my father. His mother had died the year before, almost the exact same date as my father passed. Wow. So not only was he where I'm from, he knew what I had just gone through. And suffice it to say, March of the next year, I tried to come in on my dad's birthday, and I was sitting there. He just looked at me. He was like, "Get your shit."
Yeah, and go.
And go. And then I was there that summer, and that was the summer. You remember, Brian, you remember Dr. B. Raj, Brandon Rogers? So he and I were close. And I remember coming into work that day, and one of the girls was like, "Did you hear about the boy from America's Got Talent, dying?" And I said, "Huh? Who?" She said, "That got this light-skinned doctor. He's a doctor." And I was like, I had just texted him like that Saturday. This was like Monday morning. Like, so, Sunday, Monday can come and go.
Yeah.
It's Monday morning. And I'm like, and it was the same look. And they were like, "Get your stuff and go ahead to the house." And I was like, all right, I'm going to go ahead and go cry the whole way down the highway. And in that moment, I was like, it's so crazy because I was talking to Brandon as I was driving the night, and I was like, I had not planned to mourn you. Like, you meet people, you don't know how they're gonna stay, how long they're gonna stay in your life, or how they're gonna what role
to mourn you.
Ain't that that's a bar? That's a part.
I met Brandon from social media.
That's how we think. It's I have to plan it all. Like,
man.
And what do you mean? This is so inconvenient to me.
This is inconvenient.
This is so inconvenient.
And not only that, like it goes back to what you said. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't even know what morning you look like. We were still discovering our dynamics.
Yeah.
How we talked about one another. Yeah. Like I was there from, like I kept this off socials, but I was there from like medical school through like when he was in Philly and all that. No. And so it was like, Brian, like there's people that you meet, like if I lived where you live, and so it was one of those, what ifs.
Yeah.
And so then him dying in a freak random car wreck was like
you couldn't fathom it.
This man that loved giving back, loved children, loved the Lord, loved singing, was finally transitioning into the thing that his passion, and couldn't be no sweeter than it was like him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what death isn't earned or deserved.
That's how that's why I think I was so blindsided by my dad, because to that point, like I had lost my maternal grandmother. I had lost like people that were kind of more on the fringe, that like people that I weren't super close to, or like when I lost my grandmother, I was really young. So wrapping my mind around but as an adult and being blindsided and then having to process like, oh, this really happens. Oh, people really do leave you. You really can't pray and hope and wish and it goes right. Like, and I think, and that's, I mean, a lot of things fell apart. My relationship with God fell apart around that time. I was pissed. I was like, how dare you? I was so angry. The relationship with God fell apart. The relationship with myself fell apart. And so it goes back to like what you said. I did not plan to ever mourn you. Or maybe as I got older, because I know the natural order of life, like your parents go before you do if all goes well. But like not at that age, not here now, and the way that it happened, man, I was not prepared. And you can't be prepared. You know that.
It speaks to the care, and it's like did I care? Yeah. I care this. I loved you like that. Like if I had known I loved you like this, we should have been on a motherfucking plane trying to make some shit. Like
but that's why I was mad at God. But that's why I was mad at God, because I was like, I love him so much. This is one of my lifelines, legitimately.
You just gave him back to me.
Yeah. And I was like, I just got it.
What was that for?
Just got home. What was that for? And like, if I wasn't going to have this future, like, what are you saying? And I was, man, me and God, we boxed it up. I just got me and my spirituality right, probably like in the last year and a half or so. Like I said, in the last year and a half, things have really like gotten a lot clearer for me. And I was functioning before that, but like things got really clear in the like last year and a half. But man, I was like, God, you did me dirty on that one. And then you look at other things that happen. Like I always point to Lauren London. It's like people are grieving loss. Like, why not you? You are not special in the scheme of this thing. So you are going to have to live through these things that happen to you. So,
but I also think, as crazy as that is and it's painful, as like my father was military, so he was constantly gone. He wasn't locked up, but he was constantly gone. The formative years of my life. But I also look at it like I found a bunch of letters that he kept. I found a bunch of pictures that we had drawn as kids that he kept. I didn't know my dad to be sentimental at all. And the same thing with the predicament your father was in. That may have given him the focus to deliberately pour into you the way that he did. That he may not have had he been out and moving and grooving.
I'm so grateful for those letters. And that's why I say through my therapy, there was a point where it hit me. I was like, God, I was mad at you for taking him. Thank you so much that I have these letters. And I know that him being incarcerated was not easy for me, but thank you, God, that I have these letters to go back to, because some people don't have as much, like because he was in a nursing home, he had just got incarcerated. I don't have blankets or pictures, all these things, but I have those letters, and I've never been more grateful for anything in my life. Like, I mean, God forbid if there was a fire in my place, I'm taking that. That's one of the things I'm taking. Like, we ain't playing about that. So yeah.
I only have one more question.
I have one. So let me do mine.
I want to make sure I got y'all's questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is my last one. When did you have? Because we mentioned it, and you mentioned even if you have needed a day to have it, Ryan. When did you have the cry? And I can tell you, for me,
go ahead.
And I mean, you know what I mean when I say that. For me, it was my dad died on a Monday. I'm going to skip past this next part, and because y'all gonna be like, wait, what? They lost his body on Tuesday. They found his body.
Wait, what is correct?
Yeah, that was a correct response.
But go ahead.
They found him cover, everything gets done. And he died in a different city than they lived in. So we had to get the death certificate. It was a whole bunch of that. The viewing was Friday. The funeral was supposed to be Friday, but one of his other friends died at the same time. So his service wound up being Friday. Or Saturday. So we bumped my dad from Saturday to Sunday. And so our pastor was, of course, having service. So he moved service to our other auxiliary building to then have the service at church. And the Reverend Dr. Bishop William Barber, if you know who that is, you look him up. That's my pastor. So he did church, and then we had the service come over, and then they couldn't bury him because he was military until Monday, whenever the grounds were open. So we went Monday to Monday.
Yeah.
And I had to suit up, boot up, host, be there. And where I was on E, I was on E. My sister would have to jump in and tag in and help, show up for some shit that I was like, bitch, I ain't got it. And vice versa. I had lived in Atlanta at that point for 10 years. And even with the deaths I experienced in Atlanta, everyone's a transplant. So everyone went back home. We have a memorial service here at most, whatever the case may be. I had not had like an Atlanta death. Everything was somewhere else back home. I left home because I was the guy in North Carolina, and my parents was crazy, and everything was crazy. And I was like, girl. And I was reminded when I came back during that time that they were still crazy. And so I went home. I did the do. I was the upstanding father. I was the legacy. I was the third nomenclature. I did all the things I was supposed to do. I got on that plane. I came back home. My best friend picked me up from the airport. One of my best friends picked me up from the airport. Came in Buckhead, walked into my apartment, put my things down, and I walked into my bedroom. And I realized that Atlanta was not my bubble anymore. And that this thing was going to go with me everywhere I went. And y'all, I lost my motherfucking mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lost it.
That'll do it.
That was the cry. Like, I had cried, and you know what I mean? Like, the one that's like, bitch, from my bones. Like, this is a hurt.
The one that takes your whole body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick,
my best friend was like, "Are you?" And he was like, "I'm gonna give you. Take your time.
Just take it." Yeah.
Yeah.
And man, like that was the one. Oh, you go ahead.
So I can't even, because time is all fucked up, but I can't remember when it was. I know it was within that first year, but it's when I heard Stevie Wonder, "I just called to say." So my dad, what he would do was he would always call and sing that. And so the very first time I heard it, like I can feel it in my body now. The very first time I heard it, I'm even trying to think about like where I was. That's how outside of my body I am half the time. But I heard it, and I just remember just hitting the floor. And it was like a wail. It wasn't even like a quiet weep. It was a wail. Like I was broken. I was really broken because I was like, I'll never hear that again. I'll never hear him say that again. That's why Stevie is like, that's it. Yeah. Woo! So it was hearing that song, and it was within the first year. I do remember that because we hadn't gotten to that first death anniversary yet. And I feel like I was already in my new apartment, so it was close to a year. But I heard that song, and I was leveled.
Guardians of the Galaxy, leveled. Bring It On Home to Me by Sam Cooke. I was in the theater, and bitch,
and just crying.
Crying, but I was in that motherfucker
just trying to So that's my moment. That's my cry. That one, yeah.
There are, I know you asked for the cry. There are 3 distinct times that they're really specific. So the very first time, this is not the one, but this was the first big one, was a week after I had gotten back. And I told y'all, like, my mom was going through a cancer treatment at the time, and she had called to check on me. I take that back. I had called to check on her. I had called her to just be like, hey, I know that you had an appointment today. What's going on? How you feeling? And so she gave me like the rundown, and then she asked me, and she was like, how are you? And it was the first time that since that anybody had asked me. And it was the first time that that I had the thought and vocalized, he's just gone, and lost it on the phone, lost it on the phone, sitting there in my bed, just sobbing, crying. And then the cry, the one was 2021. I'm sorry, whatever year it was it was the series finale of This Is Us. Did you watch This Is Us, Rob? Oh, okay. Oh, and This Is Us, spoiler alert, if you're listening, you haven't seen it, everybody dies. But the parents, the whole show, the dad is dead, which was
Yeah.
triggering in and of itself, right? The whole show, the dad is dead.
Like-
And then the series ends with the mom passing, and it is all of the kids have come home. They're old, and like they had been teasing it for like seasons, because like the show takes place in about like 3 or 4 different like timelines with the same family at the same time.
And they like to give you the end and then ladder up to the end.
Exactly. Yes. And so we're at the actual episode, and she's going through, this train represents like her life, and she's going through each car as a different phase of her life and talking to different people that we've met as a part of her life as she's driving through this car. At the tail end of the car is her husband, the father, and like the car is like made up like their bedroom that we've seen the entire series. And he's like, hey, come lay down with me. And so she lays down, they lay down, they're facing each other, and she's just like, I'm scared. And he's like, what do you have to be afraid of? Everybody, you just saw it. Everybody that you love is here. I'm here. Like, you have nothing to be worried about. And she was like, is it going to hurt? And he was like, nope, you were going to be just fine. And I am in my apartment. My partner was away. My partner is in the military. He was away. It's literally just me and Rio, my dog. And I had been, this is my show, y'all. I love this fucking show.
It is one of the best written shows of all time.
I love this fucking show. And like, I knew that this was coming, but like seeing them, and they did lens flare. It was shot beautifully. And they cut to her in the room with her kids around her. And then she goes. And when I tell you, it rattled my body. Like I am in my apartment, 8-7 Central, yelling and screaming and sobbing, like tears, my face soaked, like, and it was to the point, like it went on for so long, like it was kind of like out of body. Like my body is just like doing this. I'm just crying. I'm just crying. I'm just yelling. And I'm in my head, right? In my head, like, hey, go ahead, wrap it up. And my body is like, oh, we're not done, babe.
Yeah, and we're still going to keep going.
We've been waiting. We've been waiting for the opportunity.
We've been waiting
patiently.
Like I couldn't do anything. I could not do anything but surrender to it. Like I could not do anything but just like release myself to it. And I cried like consistently for like a solid hour. A solid hour of just yelling and screaming and crying all up and through that apartment, like laying down on the couch, falling out on the floor, going upstairs to my bed. Like that was it. And then the last time was one of the final episodes of Succession. I don't know if y'all watched Succession.
Yes.
I gotta watch it. I haven't watched it all the way.
It is really good. I gotta spoil it for you.
Yeah, just a little. Part. I know what you're talking about. Which episode?
But like their dad dies. And it was just out of nowhere. And the way that they responded to finding out, the way that they found out and the way that they responded to finding out was exactly how it happened for me. And I'm just like sitting there like, so like nobody was going to give me no kind of warning or nothing.
Like no warning, like no trigger warning on this episode or nothing. Yeah.
And I just like could not, like it wasn't like the cry, but it was just like incessant tears, and like I couldn't breathe. And I was just like, yo, like what is happening right now? Like what, like are you, like it pulled the rug out from under me.
And that's what I think. I like that you even mentioned that, right? Because there's a series of cries. There is the cry that's the first one when you hear that that you don't know of. Crying. But there is like when I went to go pick, like I told you guys, when I went to go pick up my dad's ashes, I had a panic attack. That was a cry. And the very first time I heard the Stevie song, that was a cry. I think I was like a year and a half out from him dying. I was just at the gym. Something hit me, and I was just like,
a song, a memory will shake loose that you forgot.
And your body, so and like there's all like, these cries, and you're just like the grief, the way your body, they say, I mean, from the book, your body keeps the score. That grief is in your bones. It's in your body for sure.
It's like when you have a cold and you have the lingering effects. It's called viral shed. It's like an emotional shed. You are constantly going to be shedding these layers of those experiences. Memories that you forgot or suppressed, things are going to come back up, and the discussions you can't have. It's many things that happen, and you live with it for the rest of your life. And another good show to add to the queue is the show that y'all have mentioned, and this was before. This may have been after my best friend passed when I was 17, but it was before I dealt with most of this, but even then it resonated. 6 Feet Under.
Oh, so I never watched it. My sister likes that show.
I want to go back and watch it because
I
I
have it on
heard.
box set, and when I tell you that finale,
Yeah,
for me to the point that my
Okay.
mother came around, so she was like, "What are you watching? And why is it so good that you are bawling your eyes out? Because I need to watch it because what is it?"
yeah,
And like the and the
I'ma watch it
closeout
then.
song is
Yeah.
Sia breathing.
they like that was like Sopranos and 6 Feet Under was like the beginning of like the golden age of like
Yeah.
storytelling for HBO. So like yeah, I remember my mom watching it, and it's like it's one of those shows that I want to go back as an adult and see.
Please do. Please,
I'm gonna go
6
watch
Feet
it.
Under,
I'm gonna watch it, and I'm dead ass gonna text y'all and be like, "Okay, I watched it."
And I'll watch This Is Us. I'll do This Is Us.
Okay, perfect,
perfect.
and I'll do 6 Feet Under.
And y'all can do 6 Feet Under.
Okay, perfect.
Amazing.
My last question, or y'all got any more before y'all want to get out?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, last question. What is your fondest memory with your dad?
No.
I'll start. For me, the year that he died, we spent his birthday together. So I was turning 30. He would have been turning 51. No, he would have been turning 50. Yeah. He came to New York. Him and my brother came to New York and spent his birthday with me. Our birthdays together. And we went as cold as shit and miserable. But this is when I was still like complex, Nick. And he had like heard about like work that I was doing and like seeing some of like the work that I was doing, and like was always just kind of like so enamored by the idea of like, oh, you get to like talk to XYZ person, you get to like be at these events, He was like, he thought that was like so cool. And so I was like, yeah, come to New York. He stayed in my apartment with me and my roommate, and we went out, like we went to a bunch of bars because like he is a wine, liquor, cocktail aficionado. I went to like, we took him like a bunch of bars and like restaurants. It was just like our boys trip, and I got to show him around the city. He got to like see what like my life was like. And then I have another friend whose birthday is around the same time, and he had did a party. I forget what the club is, but it was down in Meatpacking, and it was full on like New York spectacle. Think like, did you go to Kinfolk back in the day? Like when it was out in Brooklyn?
Of course.
Think like it was like very like Kinfolk vibes, and like peak like Kinfolk.
Okay.
And he was over the moon. He had the time of his life.
Just in there partying.
Just in there partying. Leave it to my father to meet the owner of the venue, talk this man up, get bottles sent over for me and my friends. Like that was just, yeah. And so we got back to the apartment, and me, him, and my brother, everybody drunk. But like my roommate is home and like he's asleep. And so they're just like talking about like how much of a good time they have, and like they're yelling. And I'm like, y'all gotta chill. Y'all gotta turn this the fuck down. And I have video of them just like recounting to the night in like this stage whisper for like absolutely nobody. And I have like, that's one of my like my fondest memories.
Like you hold on to that one. That's a good one. That's a really good one.
That was in January, and then he was gone in June.
I'm glad that you had that before he went. Yeah. I am. I think that's a blessing. That's good.
My nigga.
Yeah.
Diddy.
It's something about a nigga that loves Christmas. Listen, like a man that loves Christmas.
Like a big child. Like a big kid.
He would hide stuff around the house. He would do stuff like, go grab my E&J out the cabinet. And you go over to the cabinet and it's a new pair of shoes, or it's, you know, I remember my Duck Hunt, when Duck Hunt had the gun, and then they had a cannon that, you know, no black kids, you know, my dad bought me the cannon, whatever Nintendo, whatever, like my gear stayed fly. We landed overseas and he went before we did. We got there, we met him on the tarp. And like he in like some J's, like a Budweiser shirt, like, you know, just
very aesthetic.
The current aesthetic. And we walked up, and the first thing he said to my mother was, "What you got on my son's feet?" And he went and bought me some Jordans right then.
You like had a nigga daddy,
like straight up and down, nigga.
So I think it's like definitely Christmas, and then the other one, it probably is my sister's wedding. And her reception was on the military base at the NCO club. So my mother had found out in advance that my dad had open bars, so she went and closed it. She was like, we didn't, because you know how your daddy act when you get that liquor in his system, and you know, doing her whole Rochelle thing. So we get to the reception, and we at the bar in the back, and I'm getting ready to pull out my car, and my dad said, I know that lady thought she had the bar closed, but guess what? He pulled out his Amex and was like, open it back up. And I was like,
yo, he was serious.
everybody. He got my friends high. He got everybody drunk.
Oh, he was turned.
Like, no, Rob was like that. It's so many one-liners and so many. He would watch wrestling with me. Just in the way he would even tell stories. He was talking about when he was younger and they had went somewhere and he was like, and just some girls that showed. He was like, it was like a gaggle of hoes, and I was like, a gaggle? How do you measure hoes in a gaggle? Like he was like, it was a gaggle of.
Please,
you know how many a gaggle is, and I was like,
yes,
Robert,
you do.
Like,
we're not talking about the.
Like, if you know me and how crazy I am, that was my daddy was just as
inherited.
I love that though.
Inherited.
Apple.
Like my friends, one of my friends still calls my daddy hog leg, and I'll tell y'all offline why he called himself hog leg. But one of my friends still be like, I miss hog leg. I'm like, what's your son calling my father? Hog leg.
Please.
I feel like I have an idea.
I feel like I have an idea.
You got it.
Yo, your daddy was wild.
Like, and my mother, as a deacon at the church, they interviewed us.
That's why it worked.
They interviewed us. They interviewed us in the hangar, right? And it was November of '97. My dad was coming home from Saudi for the last time, and they were interviewing my mother, who is like the NAACP Mother of the Year, Youth Council Advisor, deacon at our home church, ranking officer, vice president of the BB&T, like all the things. Yeah. They interviewed her on the news, and they were like, "So what's going on? Your husband's on the feast. Well, what are your plans whenever he gets here, Mrs. Herring?" And this is like 11 in the morning. She was like, "Screwing."
No.
Period.
No.
Period, Pooh. I know that's fucking right.
And all my friends saw it on the news. It was on the news. All my friends was like, "We saw Deacon Herring talking about she was screwing." I said, and they did it right when they got home.
Baby, my sis said, "Put the dick in the bag now."
Now. She immediately.
She said
was
the
like,
dick
just
was
throw it in the
imported.
bag.
I had the dick imported from Saudi, from Doha. I need the dick now.
Now. Oh, she was dead serious.
Absolutely, absolutely, babe. Absolutely,
my God-fearing, loving mother was on the news talking about some screwing.
The deacon.
Because she did her job. We married. This is mine.
She did her big one. She was like, "We're married, and it's legal in the eyes of God." So
absolutely, babe.
So that's why we know. That's why my friends know about hog leg and white and
Jesus
and my friends. The other day text me, so I miss hog leg. That's the big shit.
Blocked immediately. Do you hear me?
Immediately, my friends would never be able to say, "Yeah." They would
Stop
never
fucking
be
playing
able
on
to
my
say
phone.
Oh, those are great.
What is it for you, Nikki? Is it the letters? The letters are huge. The letters are huge. And every year on my birthday, my dad made a birthday card for me, and I read it every birthday. But those aren't the fondest memories, believe it or not. Like those are just those are just good things to have.
Imagine having a wealth of good memories that like these aren't even the best ones, y'all.
These aren't even the best ones.
I can just
open up this box and we can like it's incredible. Yeah, like it's incredible.
Because they get reduced down to what's left. They get reduced down to effects and memories, and it's so good that you have tangible ones.
Yeah. That makes me like, happy even if I go crazy, right? Like even if I have like dementia or something like that, I can go back to these letters.
Yep.
And I am working to hopefully get them bound.
Yeah.
So the first memory, back in the day, our parents all had that stereo, the stack, the old school stereo. It was like either silver or black, depending on which household.
Black.
It was, and then it had the glass door on it. It was like so nice. So my dad, he was a collector of music, is why I love music now. And I will never forget my dad like yelling, telling me to come to the living room and me sitting down and him going over the story of Aretha Franklin and us listening to Bridge Over Troubled Water over and over and over again. It's one of my favorite songs on the planet. But I just remember my dad having such this light and this sparkle in his eye when he was talking about this song. And I think as I've grown, that's my fondest memory, one, because of the music. It all started with my dad.
It was scored. Your memory is scored.
Like it has a soundtrack, literally. So
that's so tea.
And then also I think because my dad was a very sentimental person. Like I said, he had a lot of struggles. There was a lot of unhealed trauma in him. And then he had mental health issues. So I think that song also was like his light. It was almost like his North Star. Because he would come back to it a lot over his life. And I think he was always just like, there are troubles, but we can get over it. So as I've gotten through his grief, through his journey, I'm just like, I know I'm going to be okay. Like Bridge Over Troubled Water. So that is like number one stamped fondest memory because it's the foundation of like everything,
That's
yours, Rob.
There.
Let me see.
Roman Connors, You Are My Starship.
Yes, that's a good.
I'll light me a blunt and put that on.
And it's me and him. And that's
why I say it's like, so there are songs that I will always come back to, but that's one of my fondest memories. So yeah, that man, I miss him bad. I miss him bad. I miss him bad.
But it speaks to the love. It just speaks to, and you had a good daddy. It just speaks to,
Yeah.
and
You
even
had a good
and a
daddy.
good daddy that fought through circumstance to stay a good daddy.
Yes.
You got
And
niggas that's available to be a good daddy, won't be a good daddy. This nigga was fighting the system and like, nah, my baby gonna know. If she gonna know one or two things, she gonna know these.
Yeah. And that's what
that's
what my sister always says, because she's just like, I know he's gone. She was like, but he's still here through you. And that's like my biggest compliment. That's like my biggest honor, that like everything I do, he's here. So yeah.
This was amazing.
It was. I feel so seen.
So much. Thank you all so much for jumping in and doing this with me, and for opening up and like bearing such intimate, personal, special details. This was so important. If nobody ever hears this, like just the healing that this was for me, and being able to share this space with you all has been invaluable. And I hope that so many will get to hear it and get to have that same experience.
So I appreciate y'all so much.
I love y'all deep.
The love is deep, okay? And I'm coming back after I watch 6 Feet Under. I'm coming back.
Oh yeah,
please we gotta have a recap. I want to hear what you got to say about it. You gonna gag? That's a good piece of show.